make sure.
Top Lobster Productions.
In the shadows of the ancient ones, they never went away. They're still here today.
Nephilim Death Squad. When the last trumpet sounds and the heavens crack, blah, 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 blah. Nephilim Death Squad. Nephilim Death Squad. Death Squad. Death Squad. Death Squad.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is Top Lobster, the father of disinformation.
What's up?
Before we get into today's guest, a little announcement. If you guys want to support us, patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad is the place to do it. You'll gain early access to episodes, ad-free listening experiences, and you're also going to get access before the general public to the Bohemian Grove tickets, and I don't think we have any VIP tickets left.
Oh, I have not checked.
I think it's over.
Last I checked, I think we had 2.
Yeah, but then I saw somebody bought 2, and I'm pretty sure it's gone. But the good news is you can still get general admission tickets before the pours do. We've not yet released the tickets to the filthy pours, and so Patreon members still have first dibs on our general admission days. But I'm pretty sure you're shit out of luck when it comes to the VIP. You guys are disgusting, and you're slow, and you deserve to not be able to go.
But when those general admission tickets do drop, you can grab them at toplobster.com. So go
Right.
ahead, go over there, grab a fucking shirt, grab a ticket,
Grab a shirt,
grab
a
some
ticket.
shit, whatever.
Grab some-
we have a great guest today.
Joining us in studio, which is fantastic, is Thomas, the Paranoid American. Thomas, before we get into today's discussion, let's remind
How
everybody.
dare you, Thomas?
Let's remind everybody what it is you do and where people can find what you do.
I'm at paranoidamerican.com. I've been putting out conspiracy and occult themed comics for over 15 years now.
It's been a long ass time, dude.
I started when I was doing animation at Disney for about 10 years. Ex-military, current Freemason, although
Unbelievable.
Current?
Disavow.
well, I wanted to tell you guys the real reason that I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
ready to renounce Freemasonry. I'm ready to bend the knee and admit that Christ is king.
And that's
Amen.
what this is about. That's actually what this entire episode is about. But before we bend the knee.
I'm glad. I thought this was going to be a struggle session.
No, look at, dude, by the way, 15 years. No, bring that back up. Don't take that down.
Oh, sorry.
You have some of the coolest work. I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
it's really unique what you've been able to pull off as far as, everybody who has a podcast has merch. You had merch
It's
before you had a podcast.
It's humbling. It's humbling.
It is humbling. Makes you feel like shit. Thomas's merch, the products that come out of Paranoid American are some of the coolest things if you are into conspiracies and just, if you're not going to be a black pillar about it, you're going to have some fun.
Also, if you guys are here, we have some. If you make it out to the Standard Coffee Shop Casino and Christian Library, we have some cool stuff to. He gave us merch to kind of
Give out to people
spread
when they,
around
it's
a
all
little bit,
cursed.
yeah.
It's all cursed with the curse of Freemasonry. And I saw him doing it. I pulled up in the parking lot and he was walking around his merch 7 times in a circle.
I saw that.
Yeah. And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm cursing the merch." And I said, "Merch?" He said, "Yeah, I'd like you to give it away to the people that stop by." And I said, "All right, well,
No
that's
problem.
fine." So we'll forewarn you, but if you come by the Standard Coffee Shop /casino/NDS Studios, you can just grab whatever the fuck you want here. I don't care. It's yours.
Don't say that.
You can
Don't say that.
take whatever you
No,
want.
it's free. And it's full of lies, and I learned from you that lying is so easy. So that's
Yeah.
what I do now.
Well, literally nobody will stop you.
That is true.
We've learned.
And by the way, Thomas Paranoid American will be at Bohemian Grove, right? As you have been at every Bohemian Grove. And not only will you be there in this capacity, you help with the merch, you also do performances, but you're also the guy whose job it is to convince Donut to come to these events as well.
Every time he's like, they're not going to kill you, Donut.
Whether or
trust me."
not Donut comes out is entirely dependent on how convincing Thomas can be.
Correct.
So,
I'm going to have to ramp it up this year just
Yeah.
a little bit because of the hot dog incident from the last year.
What happened with the
So-
hot dog incident? I don't remember that. I thought he was fine. And you know what? By the way, if he shows
Wait,
up,
what happened to
he
the
has
hot
to
dogs?
show up as a Teletubby.
Why do you keep doing this to people?
I don't know. It's fun, man.
It's dressed as Pleiadians. Our producer Nancy has to come as a geisha. What happened with the hot dogs? Are you serious about hot dog
I
stuff?
don't think you talk about it anymore.
No, but I do think that there was some people that came that don't want to come after the hot dog incident.
All right,
I
well
get
let's just leave it at that because I don't want to.
I don't want to open
people.
old wounds.
Yeah.
Reopen old wounds.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're doing your best with all this hot dog paraphernalia here.
By the way, yeah, we have some really fantastic hot dog paraphernalia that's been coming in these last few days, and I'm very grateful to the people who send things. And well, thank you so much for my hot dogs. So we were discussing before you came on what exactly we're going to talk about, and it wasn't much of a discussion. You came out of the gate pretty hot, and you said, "Bugs are demons," and I said, "Book yourself," and I sent you the calendar because
Go book yourself.
nothing gets me more erect than blanketly calling something demons.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to do.
It's what we were discussing before, what got us in some hot water with Alberino, which we've smoothed that over. That's not a joke. Cheney thought we were lying.
About the Alberino thing?
Yeah.
About it being smoothed over.
Oh, no. We are friends now, and I love him dearly. In fact, he's gone from
When you say it like that, though.
someone that I
No,
had
show
a
him-
vendetta
show him the
against.
proof.
What is the proof? Oh, yeah. Where's
Well, Cheney made a good point though that I thought was interesting is that
even know where it is.
you might have squashed the beef publicly and Alberino's like on page and everything, but there is a non-zero number of his audience that are like all in Alberino, don't have any idea what this beef was, and they come in 6 months, 12 months later, and they're like, "Oh, I want to see these Nephilim Death Squad guys,"
Yeah.
and they start going through comments. And like they're jumping on Alberino's feed, calling him an NF and calling him all of these things, and
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's squash, but they don't know it was squash.
What do you mean by
'cause-
NF?
Hit the button. Can you hit the button?
Yeah, I
Can
don't. Well, it doesn't
Somebody
work
has that
anymore. I
one.
don't know if. Nope, I pressed it. It doesn't make any sound. Well, look. This has already been a problem. Some people on Twitter haven't gotten the announcement, so they're still. They have the
Right.
guns aimed
Yeah,
at
and
him.
I tell them, hey, calm down.
We have to say, hey, he's our friend now. We love him. Whoa! But one of the things that's really kind of messed up is we have a backlog of appearances we've made on other shows that still have to
a
air.
lot of fun, yeah.
And so if you're up to date with our content, you know it's all been squashed. I admit that I called and apologized because I'm a psychopath.
But every third week, there's a
Throwback episode from somebody else's show where we got on another platform and we were like, you know what? Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy right where he breathes.
No,
and then
but
if you go
show,
current, we're like,
show
hey,
him
man.
what he sent us because he doesn't believe us. I think it's beneath you or behind
Well,
you.
it is
somewhere.
beneath me, and it's also behind me, and so I try not to
I
look-
believe you though because Christians hand out apologies like they're nothing, but
Yeah.
then they'll kind of damn you again soon after.
Oh yeah, it's
They
only
don't
a
stick.
matter of time until we damn him again.
No, until he damns us.
But of course, we have this signed by him. It's the Book of Enoch.
That's exactly how Aleister Crowley signs his name. By the
I
way,
knew that. I fucking knew that.
Here
This
we
is
go.
actually
Let me-
signed by Aleister
Burn
Crowley,
it.
the
Burn it.
Ghost of Crowley.
has anyone brought that up before? That is so obvious.
Is
that's
that
what
true?
No, are you serious? Go ahead, let me see that again.
If you Google a signature from Aleister Crowley, compare it to
I
that.
can't believe we're doing this again, Thomas.
I swear to God, don't let me find out that he gave us an Aleister Crowley
top
signed
one?
book.
The top one, yeah.
That's actually not an A. That's a penis.
That's
he drew a
exact-
small penis.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Unbelievable. But we have buried the hatchet, and
I'm not here to open up old. I'm
Well,
here
you're about
again.
to.
no, it's fine. You know what? Let's
I'm here
start
to
it all
denounce
over again.
Freemasonry, denounce everything. Christ is king.
You know,
Christ is king.
people get real upset with you, and I'm sure you experience this all the time because of your, your Freemasonry. And to which I say, before I ever found Christ, if I was not a lazy piece of he does make the A a penis.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little close.
It's a 1-to-1, virtually identical.
Are you saying that we're gonna have to kill him?
Well, let me just point out that his is missing the balls. I don't know if that was like a symbolic.
Okay, no, you're
decision
trying
or
to
not.
walk me into a joke. You're trying to walk me into a joke, and I'm not going to say that because I love Timothy Alberino.
We friends.
But before I ever had a show, before I ever came to Christianity or came to Christ, if I wasn't such a lazy, unmotivated slob, I would have walked into a Freemason lodge because I wanted to know. Obviously, if you're a conspiracy theorist, they're going to come up. And in my youth, not even super young, but like maybe in my 20s or something, I was thinking, like, why don't I go and join and like find out what these fuckers are about, like, covert style.
Yep.
And infiltrate them and things like that.
Well, that's kind of how I got into it.
Well, what I'm saying is that then people would have looked at me now and been like, he was a Freemason. And it's like, to me, it just seems, you got to put it right in your mouth hole. To me, it just seems like an organic path for any conspiracy theorist. And but then you're an unredeemable piece of shit.
Well, also there is a definite way that you have to enter. Like, do you have good memory? Can you memorize
No.
like a book word?
No.
Then you weren't ever going to get in anyways. So it's a pipe dream to begin
I
with.
can't even really read.
Well, then you definitely. I mean, I think that a big part of it. A lot of people are like, I might have gotten in. No, you wouldn't have.
Really?
Yeah, because
Don't they just let everybody in like the base level?
I mean, you can get in as an accepted entered apprentice, but to actually earn your entered apprentice and then go to fellow craft, then go to master mason, you have to literally memorize an entire book word for word in order. So like it's not
many
necessarily
pages?
Mensa level. For the
3?
full for the entire catechism that includes all 3 degrees plus the stuff that you don't have to memorize, it's probably about 150 pages or so.
Wow. I would have
And
never
each of
made
the
it.
degrees is maybe 8 to 10, maybe 12 pages worth of word. But like you have to get every single word right in order.
What is that weeding out?
I worked with a black guy that was a Mason. He
I'm
had
sorry.
the little symbol on the back of his car. He was a complete idiot.
I think anybody
So I
can get
find
those
it-
stickers.
Yeah.
I saw one the other day. Like I was driving behind one, and I go, "Oh, look, it's a Freemasonry sticker." You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's really that hard to get your hands on the stickers, but I'm wondering
not.
what process, because like
Buy them at paranoidamerican.com.
Dude, I go on eBay and I buy like Freemason
The regalia?
chains and like I get the regalia and stuff, but it's like a joke. Like you can't get this on eBay. Like all
Yes,
of
you
the
can.
stuff I got came
it's all
from
on
eBay.
eBay. So what I found out later on is the Rotary Club is also like, you know, if you're part of a Rotary Club, you're a shill, an infiltrative fed of so, you know what I'm saying? So whatever you are, if you're a Freemason, a Satanist piece of shit asshole, apparently it's the same thing for the Rotary Club. So when I was coming to Florida, I was going to start a business. It was going to be an ice cream truck. That sounds so
Oh, you
retarded
never
when I
told me
say
this.
it out.
I'm in. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
What are you saying here?
And I was thinking like I could take the truck and turn it into an ice cream store, parlor, whatever, you know, and that what I should do is I should go and join a Rotary group. And that way I can get to know other business owners and try to network. That's basically what a Rotary Club is. And now I'm finding out that that is also cursed and you're a piece of shit if you're part of a Rotary Club. But I thought that Freemasonry on the lowest levels was basically Rotary Club.
I mean, a lot of people join it for the social aspect. They want to get like ins in the business community. You mentioned the stickers.
Yeah.
There are legitimately people that can get out of getting tickets when they get pulled over because
I've
they got
seen
the
that.
sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in the Winter Park Lodge, a lot of them are police, and they'll tell you that if they know you're a brother, as long as you're not going like 20 over, then it's just an easy like get out of here. That's not like a guarantee, and it doesn't mean that every cop that pulls you over is going to be a Mason.
Sure.
But there's absolutely benefits to it. I don't know if I would go through memorizing books of information and paying all the dues to get yourself out of a
ticket, of a
$200
speeding
ticket. You're going to spend more than that in dues over the first 2 or 3 years.
It's just a fascinating thing because it gets hit with this. I know a couple of guys that I went to high school with that are Masons, and they get so fucking upset. If you go like at the highest levels, there seems to be some like Promethean, Luciferian, like, you know, bringing the fire to man and teaching the, you know, the hidden knowledge, and, you know, maybe there's some demiurge shit and all this other crap that goes on Prison Planet. Lucifer's actually the good guy, yada yada. And they're like, "Fuck you! It's a social club." And I'm like,
I'll give you the top. If you really want to piss a Freemason off, I'll give you the
Okay,
three that
please.
they cut directly down to it. Albert Pike Mazzini World War III letter is kind of a big one.
people
get
say that
upset
that's
over
not
that.
like.
No, it's BS.
Oh,
But you get mad about it. I think it's actually hilarious. That's the kind of thing that made Freemasonry interesting to me to begin
Yeah.
with. Then you've got the Leo Taxel, Baphomet, Mysteries
Yeah.
of Freemasonry, 1850s. The last one is the one that cuts the deepest for most Masons.
What's
and that's
that?
when you pull up the Argentinian photo of the boy brides, where it's got like the little a Brazilian kid that's got like a veil over, and if you just search for Masonic boy brides,
Masonic boy brides.
that one probably gets Masons worked up the absolute most.
What is that?
It's
Okay, I see.
the one on the right.
This one right here.
Yep.
Okay, hold on a second. I don't even think I'm.
This is the one that seems to really rustle them a little bit the most.
This does look
it's
problematic.
It's funny that it says 33rd degree boy bride ritual.
Is that what you have to get to 33rd degree of boy bride before you can marry?
Don't press that. Don't press that.
Oh, don't press that one. before you can marry a Freemason. Is that what the thing is? Hold on a second. Is this it? I
Yeah, the top
this
one.
is
So
it.
this is the one that will legitimately get most Masons angry immediately when you pull this up and make the insinuation that, like, and what happens after they walk off the frame.
What is this? I mean, what the hell am I looking at here? You got a little brown boy. This looks like Top is a child, and he's got a veil over his head like a bride, and he's being walked down by. So what is it?
So this is what you pull up if you ever are in a debate with a Freemason and they're like, we're great, we have charities and we're trying to make good men better. You show this and be like, what is he doing to that little boy? They will get angry.
Well, what is he doing to that little boy?
What is he doing? No, I'll tell you what the answer is. This is actually not standard Freemasonry. This is something that happens in South America only. I can't remember if it's Brazil or
South
Argentina.
American boy fuckery?
But this is essentially, you will, in the States and in Europe, I believe in the States, we have the Demolay, which is kind of Cub Scouts. It's like, you know, for little kids, Masonry up until you're like 17 or so. They don't necessarily have Demolay the same way in South America, but they have these rituals where they're essentially taking their sons or their grandkids and they become like married to Masonry, which really means that
that's
this
interesting.
guy, let's assume, I don't know who this guy is, but let's assume that's his grandkid. He's
They
saying
kind of
that
look like they could be.
he's going to raise his grandkid to follow the morality and the standards of
It's
Freemasonry.
like an inversion of the Bride of Christ.
I was just thinking that.
Correct. Yeah, he's not. I mean, I don't know him in
Whoa.
particular. I don't think he's bringing that little kid back to bed him. I think that this is just like a legit. But it is weird looking. It is non-standard. It's not part of
That is
typical
interesting,
American
though.
Freemasonry. This 100% though. If you ever get into an online debate with a Freemason and they're taking themselves too seriously, you plop this in that thread.
That's funny.
And most Masons don't actually even know the origin of this photo, so they'll start jumping through hoops trying to explain what they're looking at.
Oh,
That's
a
kind
lot
of funny.
fun.
I'm going to hold on to this one.
Well, shout out to Chase Geyser because we're coming for you.
Oh, yeah. Chase just had a debate, I think, with Jay Dyer. And I don't watch
Yeah.
debates because I hate them.
Me too. Why do we do one?
Well, that wasn't really a debate. That was me crashing the fuck out and accusing Timothy Alberino of being some sort of paid agent alongside
Aleister Crowley guy?
Lou Elizondo.
Yeah,
Yeah, the same
that
guy.
guy.
One and the
Okay.
same. That's fascinating. Well, I'm going to keep that in my back pocket to ruffle the feathers of Freemasons. But I want to get into this discussion.
Thomas is tanking our relationship with Alberino.
No.
You realize that, right?
No.
We're never going
Alberino-
to get him to Bohemian Grove now.
He's going to be at Bohemian Grove. Did you know that?
I think he should be.
It's a live cardboard cutout of Timothy Alberino will be there, and we're going to be he will be hosting alongside us a Timothy Alberino costume competition at Bohemian Grove, and that's real, and I'm not being sarcastic at all.
Are you expecting the actual Alberino to be there?
No,
or-
I
or
asked him
no?
directly.
And he said no?
He said no.
Absolutely not.
Do you remember Major League, the movie with Charlie Sheen,
Yeah,
baseball?
yeah.
And they were trying to raise money, and every time they raise a certain amount, they would like remove a little bit more clothing from the owner of the baseball team.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
remember that? I'm just planting seeds. You could have like
We could
an
do that with Alberino.
and as you sell more tickets, like another article comes up. First, the Indiana Jones comes off, and then like. It's just an idea.
I don't think we could do that. I think
Visual
the,
progress
the
meter.
women in the audience would blush. Alberino is 7'2", and he's got a chest
Yes.
like a barrel, and he's got a great set of hair. I don't
A
think that
hog
we
like
could.
a donkey,
It
so-
would just. He's got
some
a fat
people
dick on him, and I don't think that we could do that. But yeah, we are going to have a costume competition, and once again, I actually think that bears reiteration. So a lot of you guys who bought tickets, we're only going to have about 20 entries for the costume competition because you figure if each one gets judged on a span of 2 to 3 minutes. 20 means an hour of a costume competition with us judging it and ridiculing people. So everybody is free to dress like Timothy Alberino, but we only have 20 meaningful entries that can enter into the costume competition. So keep that in mind. If you want to enter, you're going to have to really, dress to the nines. And then we're going to have a pose competition where we talk about the megalithic prison pose.
Yeah.
Also the frame mogging, hands on the hip pose.
Yeah,
and we'll come up with
Sean
another
Ryan
one.
pose. There's a lot. There's like the crouch. There's different things that you can do, guys. So
Yeah.
study up. We expect your best.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to bother to take up the entries, you're going to want to do your best. So this idea of bugs or demons. Bugs or demons. When you said
Where did you
this,
pull that out of your ass?
it's such a great fucking. Man, how do we begin to unpack this?
Well, I'll tell you, I did kind of pull it out of my ass originally. because
He's like, I can fucking say anything on that
Like,
show.
I kind
Let's
of wanted
go.
to get back on the
Well,
show.
it wasn't necessarily you guys. It was one of my good friends, Ted Logan on X. They're
Yeah.
big into like flat Earth and stuff. I love these guys.
I think
Bill,
they just
Bill and
booked.
Ted.
They'll be back on soon, right?
Who's that?
Ted Logan. I thought.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw that.
Ted is going to come on soon, and he's also going to be at Bohemian Grove.
Ooh, very
Awesome.
nice.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah,
now,
I love
now I
Ted.
definitely
He's
have to
awesome.
go.
He's a great dude.
Donut. Now you have to go to Bohemian Grove. So we
You
can
guys.
hang out
So what
with
happened?
Bill
You
and
guys like
Ted.
linked up and stuff, and
Yeah, I've done a couple shows with him. We've been talking, and he was doing a live show one day, and it was like, give me your craziest conspiracy theory, and we'll pull you on the show whenever. And I mean, just kind of flippantly, in the Mad Libs way, I was like, if I just say like blank are demons, like guaranteed, someone's
Hell
going to
yeah.
be like, come on the show and talk about it. So it was just a quick bugs are demons, top of my head, straight out of my ass.
Yeah.
And they were like, come on and talk about it. And then I was thinking, oh, I wonder if there's anything actually to this. So then I start researching, our bugs demons. And the very first thing that comes up was that the word bug originally meant disembodied spirit. It did not mean insect. It
Whoa.
did not mean creepy crawly. The word, if you just look up the etymology of the word bug, it literally translates to demon and goblin and ghost and specter. So
that's crazy.
just through dumb luck, I feel like I just threw a dart at a conspiracy board,
Honestly,
and it just
that's
happened
how-
to hit the bullseye.
That's how I come up with all my. First, I come up with the idea, and then I do research
Yeah.
to
Right.
back it
So
and create
That's how
it.
science works now.
That is 100% how it works.
It originated in the 14th century Middle English word buggy, B-U-G-G-E, and it's like scarecrow or hobgoblin.
Hobgoblin.
Yeah, originally referred to terrifying spectral or imaginary creatures similar to bugbear, boogeyman. Whoa, okay.
That's bizarre.
This thing has some legs.
And by the way, we talk about constantly on this show the connection between what seem to be demonic entities and parasites. There's a huge overlap there to the extent that
We had a guest come in and show
yeah.
us a parasite that she pulled out of her body.
out of her butt.
And this thing might have been
Live?
No,
No,
it wasn't live.
alive.
It was in a jar.
Well, how do you know that she pulled it out of her butt?
Oh, she
out of her body.
No, but
But how do you know? How do you know she didn't pick it outside when she came in?
oh, that's true.
I don't know.
Well, she had a
This
whole
is-
story to go with it, and that's how I know it's true.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if there's a story. Yeah.
If there's a story that I know it's true.
Bugs are demons is what she said. And we're like,
But it's gotten to the
Your book.
we actually
You
kicked
free
her
on
out after
Tuesday?
that. We were like, you gotta fucking leave.
I did realize all you need to do is write a book
Oh,
about
yeah.
anything.
Turns out I can't write a book. I wrote 3 pages of a book and then I stopped writing a
Well,
book.
you're a quitter. But
I'm a quitter.
all you have to do is write a book, and you can just do the podcast rounds. It doesn't even matter what's
I've
in your
written
book.
60 books. I know about this. They're
60
mostly
books?
comic books, but I'm
That
venturing into books pretty soon. So I know that. You write a book, you get invited. And here's another pro tip, too. You can make a fake book and say that it was written in 1835, and the older
By a
you
guy
say the
named
book
Ingersoll
is,
Lockwood?
the more people will believe it. If it's 100 years old, they're like, nobody wrote books about fake things 100 years ago. No
That's
one lied
so
100
crazy.
years ago.
People do that all the time. They go back to like these, whatever these texts that are 300, 400 years old. People say that often. They're like, all you got to do is pick up like a dictionary from like 300 years ago. Then you'll know the truth. I'm like, I don't know. I think people were retarded then. They're retarded now. Could just be retarded.
Well, I mean, a dictionary from like a long time ago will tell you at least what was currently believed or what people were defining as. So that's a little bit different. But a book about things 300 years ago could be just
Like
as
a
much
book about
bullshit as a
things.
book today.
They didn't lie back then.
That's true.
That is true.
Big facts.
But that parasite,
I think didn't John LeBon kind of like
John LeBon.
John
Oh,
LeBon.
yeah, we talked to him.
he spun this web a little bit about, I think, the Library of Alexandria, where he's like, when you kind of go back and you research all the way back to it, it becomes this circular information
Yeah.
loop that doesn't go anywhere. So I think he was I forget.
It's like a reference to a book that references the Library of
Right.
Alexandria, and then when you look into that, it's actually referencing another book that references the Library of Alexandria. Or no, is it that or is it the Akashic? No, I think it was Alexandria.
Yeah.
And when you go back to the earliest mention of it, it just stops and it doesn't go anywhere, and it's not really that far back
Circular
either.
journalism.
Yeah,
is what
circular
we call it
journalism.
today.
So,
yeah.
But in regards to that parasite thing that I was saying, we've gotten to the extent where, in our wisdom, we say, it's where I say it seems as though parasites are almost like a biological conduit for spiritual energy of some sort. It's like a conductive little creature that somehow can facilitate the interaction between you and this spiritual realm. Because over and over, even when you see these like really weird videos of like witch doctors casting out spirits out of people, like a ball of writhing black hair will be thrown up by the individual, which is usually, it's probably a fake video. But even in horror films, the black, misty, tentacled. There's always this aspect of this black, writhing sort of worm.
Well, not just that. I mean, like, so M. Night Shyamalan, who is sort of occulted, even though he's Indian, he
I
touches
don't think
on.
they let them in.
Well, he's supposed to be Christian.
Is he?
Have you ever seen it? One
Have
of
you
his
ever
first
seen?
movies was Devil, I think, where people get trapped in an elevator, and one of the people in the elevator is a demon, and they have to figure out which one it is. And
Yeah,
that's kinda cool.
That
spoiler
was an
alert,
early
they don't
movie.
pick the right one. The demon ends up winning
Yeah.
and all that. But and his movie even before that was just like a straight up Christian movie. He started on the heavy Christian angle, and then it started getting more mass
Esoteric.
appeal.
Yeah. He so one of his latest ones was The Watchers, and
Was that him?
That's M. Night Shyamalan, and he nails the idea of the fairy fae lore, but there's one point where like the hand slaps against the glass because the people are inside of this entrapment at night, and it has 6 fingers. So I'm like, okay, so this guy knows a little something about the lore of the Nephilim and like where they come from. And before that, he made a movie with Mark Wahlberg, which is why it kind of reminded me of this, where
Marky Mark.
The Happening, right?
Yeah, where people are committing suicide.
That was an
And-
interesting one.
Because the trees are making him do it.
Yeah,
Right.
Which I
So-
actually thought sucked. I thought it sucked that the trees
I
were making
like
him do it.
every M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Well,
I'm not afraid to say
you
that.
know
Me
what
too.
came
Me
out at
too,
the
but
same
I
time?
want to
The Mist.
hate him. I want to hate him because he's Indian.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of his movies do slap.
One of the good
Village.
ones.
Yeah, one of the good ones. Shout out Vivek Ramaswamy.
He
But
didn't do
in
the
that
Mist,
movie.
did he?
In that movie, you have these toxins in the air that are being released by the plants, and they're infecting the human being. You have this parasite host sort of idea, and the human beings are then inclined to commit suicide. And that's the same idea that we get at with parasites.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Toxoplasmosis in cats is the same sort of way, where it would make the rat fall in love with the cat in order for it to eat faster
Yeah.
or eat it faster. It makes the human being more entrepreneurial and risk-taking for some reason.
Well, parasite is a relationship dynamic. It's not an organism. It doesn't indicate a genus or a size or anything. Like if you're parasitic, that's describing the relationship you have with your host. So anything can be a parasite.
So like us to Matt's shop.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know who that is, but yeah.
That's the guy with the
Matt's the
ears
guy.
that kept asking you.
I don't know.
Yo, you to Matt's shop. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Also, there is that instance of the aquatic parasitic worm that gets at its host and convinces it to jump into a body of water, effectively committing suicide. Praying mantis have this a lot, and they'll jump in and they'll fucking drown, and that's where this thing will
Lay
hatch
its
or
eggs,
whatever into the water. So there seems to be a lot of these themes kind of overlap. But when we were talking in this text message thread, you started bringing up shit that was like kind of more egregious.
Well, consider it this way: that the origin for the word bug means like this creepy, crawly thing that puts you at ease, disembodied spirits, like ethereal, usually nefarious beings. And then that concept of bug gets ascribed to insects because people would get that same feeling from like, ew, gross bugs. And usually because bugs are associated with decay and feces and just overall degradation. So there's this direct relationship between bugs and either moral decay or physical decay. And that's when the word bug gets ascribed to insects because it gives you that same creepy,
Feeling,
crawly feeling that you're dirty or
spider
something's
will give
after
you that.
And that, so for me, that was the first big step. I was like, okay, there's some legs to this. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to have to talk about their demons, I need some kind of biblical backup. So we can quote scripture. You guys are probably
Let's go.
the experts.
Let's quote some scripture.
I've got a
Placate to me.
list of
Placate
notes
to me right
here.
now.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well, actually, first, let me ask you guys
Yeah, the
first
worm that doesn't burn.
on
That's,
bugs. After it eats the bodies and it doesn't burn up. Let me just ask you, morally, is it okay to kill a bug?
Good question. I was thinking about my son. Is like an environmentalist, and I don't know how that happened. He like loves animals. He doesn't want to kill bugs.
Okay.
Public school?
No, homeschooled.
Oh
Doesn't-
God, fire the teacher.
Kill the teacher.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why don't you want to stomp it? He's like, I don't want to stomp it. He just likes
Yeah.
animals. He likes wildlife and to observe it and stuff. My daughter will kill it, no problem. So then, it got me to thinking about the morality of killing this thing like an ant. Like, his entire existence, how much is he actually conscious of it? And like, I just squashed him out with my finger.
So
I don't know.
I don't know. I
It's
don't
weird.
kill bugs.
You eat him?
No. The only bugs that I kill are mosquitoes. I cannot stand mosquitoes.
Male or female?
I can't tell. I just murdered them. I just fucking killed them. So, you know why? Because I think what happened was when I was little, I used to torture bugs in a really weird way that was like, I was probably on a bad path.
That's a behavior indicative of a psychotic person.
Yes.
Serial killers.
Indicative. And it's because we had a lot of reptiles and we would feed them crickets. And I hated crickets so much because they would always get out of the enclosure. And I remember my final straw was like I turned the sink on one day and a cricket came out of the nozzle of the sink. And I found them so disgusting, especially because when you squished them, they would just fill with white cream. It was fucking gross.
Yeah.
So eventually I just turned this corner where I started to take their legs off and put them in the bottom of a cup. And then I'd drop a match in there and watch them try to squirm away from the match. And then I would impale them with a sewing needle and I'd heat the sewing needle up till it was red while they were, while it was through them. Then I would take
their little cricket screams.
I would take ice water. I put ice in a cup with water, and then I turn the sink on really hot, and I go hot water, cold water, hot water, cold water, hot water, cold water.
Would he be like a good candidate for Freemasonry? Knowing this now,
I couldn't memorize.
You can't
anything,
memorize
but I
the
could show
books,
you some
but
cool bug stuff.
The only requirement is memorization.
Dude,
There's really no moral turpitude check whatsoever. You can be sworn in on a book of Thelema if you want to. So,
Really? That's
yeah.
so goofy. So I also used to take big black carpenter ants, and I would pinch them in such a way as to get their legs behind. Yes, big blacks.
BB ants.
And I would get their legs behind their back, and then I put them mandible to mandible and see which one won. Like the other one would bite the other one's head off. So it was just like this period of time where I was torturing bugs, never animals. I remember not really a difference there.
What did you do before your cell phone?
Torture bugs. I remember beating up some kid at the park for torturing a baby bird. I was like, I was fucking in tears. He was torturing this bird, and I just started beating the shit out of him.
By the way, a little side. Did you guys see the video of the black lady? She's crying in her car, and she's like, they went up to this poor duck, and they kicked it so
No, I didn't
hard
watch it. I couldn't watch it.
died, and its baby birds don't have nowhere to live. You don't see white kids doing shit like this. And she's just going off on the black
Actually, you
community.
do see white kids doing that, though. I found white kids doing that
Yeah,
back in
white
the day.
kids do that?
But black kids, they have a lot less empathy for animals, I noticed. So,
Hey
so
guys,
anyway,
join the Patreon. We're out of here.
now I don't kill bugs. I just remove them. I don't let. I tell my kid. My rule is like, except for no, I eat the mosquitoes too. But I go, don't kill anything you're not going to eat. That's it. I don't give a fuck what you kill. But if you're going to kill it, eat it. Or if you're defending yourself from whatever, I'll shoot a dog in the fucking face. Like if it's coming at me and it's a big fucking dog. Oh no! Like I don't have a problem. Maybe I'll eat it afterwards. But mostly don't kill a thing unless you're going to eat it, and you're not going to eat bugs. So don't kill them. I also think there's something interesting about like. I can fucking kill you, but I'm not. I'm going to go release
Take
you.
it up, pick it up, throw it out.
So it's easy to talk about killing crickets or ants or whatever. What about like a butterfly? If you saw your kid just smashing butterflies left and right,
Yeah,
Bro,
that's
if he
a
had
bad
like a
job.
bunch of butterflies he was smash, I'd be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Yeah, that's like, because the butterfly is symbolizing something beautiful.
It's the pretty
like
scale.
whether you know about it or not, whether you know about the metamorphosis, you see the beauty of the wings and the intricacy. So you're destroying art, and that's something like almost like property. And you're like,
Yeah.
now something's wrong with you. What are you doing?
So you get to decide whether a bug is cute or beautiful or ugly.
You're damn
and
right.
then depending on where it fails on that scale from ugly to beautiful, killing it is immoral if it's pretty, but it is moral if it's ugly.
I do the same thing with people.
Yeah. Kill the ugly ones.
Yeah.
Kill the
Well, I
ugly
guess
ones.
yeah, I like that you skipped all the way to the end of the logical conclusion
Yes.
of that.
Yeah.
So this is that concept, though, is that morally people seem to think like I can kill an animal or a bug if it's ugly or it's scary looking,
Hell
even
yeah.
if it's not necessarily something that's going to bite you or hurt you in any way. For like cockroach, for example.
I fucking hate cockroaches.
Most people won't even think twice about killing a cockroach, even if you're like pro bugs and pro PETA and everything.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend will be like, I don't want to see it, but I want that cockroach gone. And if
Yeah.
you kill it, that's fine.
I
And
actually
it
had an
doesn't-
interaction just over the weekend. I was at my cousin's house, palmetto bugs, big fucking cockroaches. Just Florida's way of saying cockroaches. It's weird. Huge. I grabbed him with the napkin. I didn't want to kill him, but when I looked at him, he's just looking at me. His body's all twisted up. He's not dead or anything. He's all twisted up, and he just squeezes out shit onto the napkin. And I go, fucking gross, man.
Yeah, dude, you terrified him.
And I still opened the door and I threw him out in the driveway, but I was like, fucking nasty, man. And you deserve to die, but I didn't kill him.
So the reason I asked this is like the morality question. If you go down the Christian path, then technically humans have dominion over all animals and flora and fauna on the world, right?
Amen.
We're allowed to do whatever we want because they're subservient to
sex
us
with
in a
them?
certain way.
I'd
no?
like you to just revise how you say that. If you go down the Christian path, you're a Christian now. You've already just said, right?
Yeah.
Catholic. I don't know if that counts anymore.
No, it doesn't count. Now
In
you're worshiping.
2026, it might as well be.
You might as well be
Freemason,
doing
yeah.
Santeria.
Please continue.
So I guess the premise though is that there's a morality that applies to how gross something is, right?
Hell yeah.
And here's that same premise of like, let's apply this to an angel. If you saw an angel and it's like got the halo and the wings and it looks
beautiful.
like, it's beautiful, it's jacked, versus a biblically accurate angel,
Kill
does
it.
that mean you can kill a biblically accurate angel because it's ugly?
Well, we
can
don't have
try.
dominion over them, and they'll fuck us up real bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't think we can kill that.
I think most people when they see those biblically accurate angels are so filled with fear that they're almost in a state of paralysis. And this is actually an interesting theory that I have where we're talking about sleep paralysis being the same phenomenon as when in the Bible these people see angels and they're like, yo, couldn't move, fell on my face.
Yeah.
I started to worship because I was scared. And they say, fear not, stand up. If they're from God.
Fear not,
that's
stop
what these
being a
angels-
bitch about it.
Yeah, but it's the same characteristic. Like a lion will have a roar, and a roar would paralyze you with fear. Alligators have it, different like large cats and shit like that.
Infrasound.
And infrasound, it freezes you, and it's supposed to get you to stop, so it'll make you easier prey. I think Elohim, B'nai Elohim, they have that same characteristic, and when they interface with this realm, like they'll have mad eyes because it's like seeing 5D figure in 3 dimensions. You know what I mean? Or whatever, however many dimensions this thing is.
Fucks you all up.
It fucks you all up, but it has this innate thing about it. Maybe it's a frequency that really stops you in your tracks.
By the way, look at this. This is an ant.
Jeez,
It just looks like the Balrog.
Oh,
Right?
I've got a nice list of crazy looking animals and insects named after demons to make these. All right, let's get into the Bible parts, right? So here's the main ones that I've got. A lot of them are just going to be references to Beelzebub, right? Which was like a combination of Baal and then Zebub, and then Zebub was supposed to either mean flies or feces, or some say it was the high one, but then the high gets sort of transcribed into like things that are flying. And I believe that some of the explanations for where this Lord of the Flies came from, it was a derogatory term. It was like, you're calling your God the Most High. Well, we're saying that he's high like flies are high and flies are attracted to shit, and therefore you're worshiping the god of shit. And that's where the Lord of the Flies came from. So it was like a derogatory version of this. So a lot of the references in the Bible are reference to this Lord of the Flies. So we've got Kings 1 mentions Beelzebub. Matthew 12:24, they're talking about how Jesus is casting out demons using the help of Beelzebub. These are like some of the claims leveraged against Jesus as like, oh, how come he's allowed to summon demons for good? Then you've also got Mark 3:22. 3:22 I mentioned was a very interesting number that also mentions the prince of demons that's using Beelzebub. We've got Luke 11:15, also talking about Jesus using this Beelzebub. Revelation 9:1 through 9:11, and this one is where it gets more interesting to me, is they're talking about demonic locusts that also can sting like scorpions and cause intense pain without killing.
It's a face like a lion too, right? Or something, or like a mane like a lion. Isn't there some other descriptive going along there?
I think the scorpion part is way scarier than the lion part in this aspect.
Yeah.
Then we've got Exodus 8:20 to 24. This is more about the fourth plague where there's swarms of flies and locusts. Joel 1:4 talks about a multi-stage locust plague that consumes all the agriculture. Ecclesiastes 10:1, they talk about dead flies making an ointment that gives off a stench that can kind of delineate that someone might not be pure. Ew. And then you've got Isaiah 66:24, and this is talking about the dead bodies against me. This is the worms that eat them will not die.
Right.
And then Mark just basically reparaphrases Isaiah. So we've got locusts, scorpions, flies, and worms. And the next step here is that you've got these Mesopotamian scorpion men from the Epic of Gilgamesh. And this is probably one of the oldest references to a human-insect hybrid that later, I mean, if you're pro-Christian, my oversimplified understanding is that if you're worshiping Mesopotamian gods or Babylonian gods, then you're essentially being deceived and you're following the devil / demon / whatever. So these scorpion men that represented these guardians between the gates of the life and the afterlife. And there was also scorpion women that are referenced in the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Is that do you think that's where they got like some of the meat for the Scorpion King from the Mummy? Remember the Rock?
Not just that, but I also believe that in the Never-Ending Tale, what is it? Never-Ending Story?
Yeah.
I believe there's also a gate at a certain point that has these like scorpion-looking figures that are basically blocking this point of no return.
That's interesting.
This archetype of a scorpion person, and it's just interesting that biblically, aside from the worms, the flies, and the locusts, which are usually accounted to the different plagues that come by, but the scorpion is supposed to be this thing that represents something incredibly dangerous that you need to stay away from. And I think that this is a direct reference to these older gods that were likened to be like half human, half bug / half insect. So
That's interesting too, because when you see these bugs, and a lot of them, they share so much in common with one another. You know, when you see one bug that, you know, like let's say like a scarab beetle, you know, they're like really beautiful in their color array, but like they all look very similar just in their build, and they bear a lot of resemblance to a lot of other types of bugs. But when you see scorpions, you're like, what the fuck? Why is that a thing?
It looks like it's cursed.
It looks like it looks like hell.
Yeah.
Like they're like spiders, but they don't. It looks like a little mythical creature.
Yeah.
Like one somebody made up. Like if you drew that, I'd be like, that'd be crazy if that existed. And it fucking does.
Well, it's funny when you say that little thing, because when we talk about scorpions, which I think are anthropods.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah.
So it's technically not like a bug / insect. For all intents and purposes,
I think
we're going
they
to
share
consider
a
that a
lot
bug.
in
It's gonna
common
be a bug.
with lobsters.
Well,
Yeah.
so there are above ground versions, there's water versions, but when you say little, it's almost like, well, a scorpion can't be a demon or an ant can't be a demon. They're too small to be a demon, right? They don't really scare me. Well, if you look, the largest scorpion that ever existed was 9 feet. It was called a Jackalopterus. And these things are scorpion relative. They don't exist anymore. If you don't believe in dinosaurs, then maybe I'm just spreading false information.
That's
but,
okay.
But this is an 8-foot scorpion.
Hell no.
So now if we're talking about, is that a demon? That would scare me. And if we're talking about scorpion men, these scorpion men hybrids, that seems fantastical, because how could a scorpion be as big as a man? Well, here's an 8-foot version of one that existed. There's also
8 feet is big enough to have sex with.
There's an underwater version that's also 8 feet called the Arthroplura.
Nope.
And then there's also a dragonfly, which, by the way, it also has a name after the devil, which I'll get into. But the largest dragonflies had a 3-foot wingspan. So we have versions of bugs that would have absolutely terrified you had humans existed at the same time.
By the way, shout out to FJ Fool on the Dustin Nemos drop. He's like, so what he's saying is bugs are juice. That's an inside Dustin Nemos joke. If you get it, you get it.
Please,
you know who that is?
Please still come. Don't listen to these
Oh
guys.
no, Jews crush.
No. We totally defeated Dustin Nemos.
Oh,
We didn't
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, we had
You know who that is? You know who Dustin Nemos is?
I don't know who anyone
Oh,
is.
worry
thank
about
God. No, let's not even talk about that. But let
Yeah.
me tell you something. The fact that there's an aquatic scorpion, things get exponentially scarier once they get in the
Have
water.
you ever invited anybody to debate on your show and then not shown up and had them sit there and just talk to your chat for 15 minutes before you ended the show?
I don't really do debate. I've done like one debate. I think
Yeah.
it's the dumbest thing ever to do online. So no, but I'm open to it and open to having someone show up and then not show up.
Yeah.
I'm open to doing that.
I thought it was a good idea.
It was really great. I thought it was a great idea. Man, you know what I want to try to get is like a scorpion's face up close. Like, you know, we're getting all these like close up of ants.
I'll give you a list of some other really interesting bugs that you can look up that have some crazy names because of how scary they look. So there's a devil's Coach Horse Beetle.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Devil Coach Horse Beetle. I think I've seen this. Oh, fuck. No, baby.
Does not look. And if there was an 8-foot version of that, I don't think it would be hard to convince someone that it was demonic.
No, and it's pretty interesting. A lot of the things that we see, like let's say in Alien, right? Like the film Alien, like Alien versus Predator. A lot of those like horrifying
This guy's
faces.
face.
You got him. There he is. Yeah, he's not good.
These were also called devil's footmen and coffin cutters.
Coffin cutters. Why is that? Because they're eating dead bodies?
Yeah, this was an Irish name for it. So they would find them inside of coffins, eating their way through. So you can see that bugs, ones that look pretty scary, end up being associated with eating dead bodies and decay. So if you find out it's eating like your loved ones, it kind of has this negative connotation to it.
Yeah.
Here's an even more interesting list. So we've got something called a demon bugs, which are a Palo Verde beetle. There's devil's flower mantis, which is essentially a praying mantis.
What is it? Just demon bug was the other one?
Demon bugs, which is a Palo Verde beetle. And these are 6-inch flying beetles that are in Arizona during monsoon season.
6-inch?
There's the thorny devil stick, the devil's imp, which is a stag beetle, the devil's horse, which is another version of praying mantis.
Look at this thing. If that was full size, you'd have a real hard life.
There's a type of wasp called Satan. There's another ant that they call Satan. And then there's also a moth named after a Marvel comic book character called Satan. So there's people out there naming bugs. And I'm not saying that just because some idiot names a bug after a Marvel character and they call it Satan, that doesn't mean that bug is Satan, but it does mean that there is a historical and biblical connection between people looking at bugs and insects and saying that it's either a reminder that demons exist or that it's a precursor to some sort of a demonic possession or demons that are trying to come after you.
Or it's so hideous that is literally what it evokes in your spirit to call this thing. You go, that's fucking Satan. Or it bites the shit out of you and you go, it hurts so bad, must be Satan.
What do most of these bugs do? I mean, they're like pestilence. So even if you're growing stuff, what you're going to be battling most is going to be some form of, bug life that's going to be eating your crops or
mostly
biting
locusts.
you.
We're talking
movie, by the
locusts
way.
for the most part, and that's usually why the locusts are part of the pestilent, is that they consume your food supply, and that's essentially going to hurt you. It's not that the locusts are going to like attack you and make you sick or anything, but they're killing everything else. And this is why I start out with, is it moral to kill bugs? Because if we ignore locusts, let's say you're not a farmer and you don't care about agriculture, all these other bugs that are part of pestilence, technically them eating dead bodies and being associated with decay is kind of a good thing.
They're the cleanup
because
crew.
It's a cleanup crew. It's what makes the ecosystem survive. If you went out there and killed every mosquito, or if you went out there and killed every one of these like devil beetles, you're effectively going to harm the overall ecology of where you're living in, right?
My son asked me that the other day. He's like, he said something to the effect of, if I had a wish, I would get rid of all mosquitoes. And I was like, I don't think that would go well.
I think that would go fine.
You think so?
Mosquitoes, I don't think do anything.
At least the robot ones, the ones that they manufacture and they come
Bill
and give us
Gates ones.
vaccinations.
Just the Bill Gates ones.
Get rid of those. I don't know. I saw a cartoon once that was some guy who made a habit of not killing spiders. Like one day something went wrong, and all of a sudden all the spiders that he had never killed went back and told their friends, and then they came out and helped him in his time of need. There's some part of like human psychology like that. When I was a kid, I used to like have that thought. It wasn't real, but I was just like, imagine if. But then that goes on to be like a cartoon, so somebody else is thinking the same thing. Maybe when the insectilins finally come, the giant mantis creatures, and they decapitate everybody, because that's what they do. A giant mantis, when a mantis has sex with another one, they decapitate them allegedly. I heard that fact. I never looked it up, but I'm going to go ahead and say that that's the case. When they come to Earth and they finally decapitate all of us, joke's on you, I'm not going to get decapitated because I didn't kill the bugs. They're going to be like, that one's okay. But you, and your son's going to be good too, but they're going to come and kill you.
Well, I mean, they're cutting off the head of I think it's the female that cuts the head off the male.
That's why
the male didn't kill anyone, so they're getting their head chopped off no matter what they did in life.
I don't think that they because that's post-coitus. And I don't think they're going to come here to have sex with us.
Well, I think this is just part of the fourth wave feminism.
It could be. It likely is. But that is an interesting observation, though, that insects do make their way into the alien pantheon. So,
well, the mantis particularly, right?
Well, also the Hopis called, this group of people the Ant People, and the way that they're depicted in Hopi, mythology, they look like Greys. The big black eyes, and they're subterranean. They live underground. A lot of people think that the Greys live underground. If that is the same species that the Hopis are, talking about when they talk about the Ant People, it's interesting that they decided that they're fucking bugs too. So there's like this weird kind of, I don't know, bug thing that enters the alien mythos.
Well, let's keep going. I got so many more examples of this. Zoroastrianism, they have a demonic lady that's called Nasu, and she's the demon of carrion, and she often takes the form of a fly. And when you see her, she's supposed to represent like pollution of a corrupt world. So here's another and if you look at Zoroastrianism, has a large impact on a lot of modern occult religions. They pull a lot from this.
Right.
So here we've got these archetypes constantly where someone that's represented as a fly in this case, which seems innocuous, but that is supposed to be one of the biggest symbols in other cultures of something demonic or something that's about to bring pestilence or plague or decay. So we're building up a very small case here that's going to get stronger and stronger as we go.
Associated with death, for sure.
Here, I'm gonna keep interrupting because it's just the nature of the show. But if you bring this up top real quick, so this is some of the Hopi drawings of the ant people, and you can see they look like fucking cartoon bug people, especially in that black and white image up in the right. And if I scroll down here, you'll see a few more images of them. You know, they have their antenna. Look at this guy in the bottom right. Almost looks like an upright beetle, right? And they called him, like I said, they called him the ant people, spider, ant, woman. So they have in their, their mythology, I don't know, it just seems like the bugs are important to them too.
Well, and the new wave of Marvel stories, ironically, that one of those ants or a moth named after Satan came from a Marvel book, but now we've got Ant-Man and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so like there's even a character named the Scorpion inside Marvel.
That's right. Yeah, I was
so
thinking
here
about
we've
it
got these references to old ancient deities that were insect-human hybrids that are becoming part of pop culture again. So it feels like an archetype that's never going to go away because it has some almost like an epigenetic aspect where you see it and you realize there's something powerful to this.
And also, if they were, just bears reiterating, if any of these things were human size, we'd have they're just armored vehicles.
And also over time, a lot of insect names have kind of been dulled down a little bit because maybe they didn't want people killing off all the bugs because, for example, dragonflies were known as devil darning needles, eye cutters, and ear cutters, and eye snatchers.
That's crazy. They don't even do anything.
But they used to be directly associated with demons and with pestilence, even though it's just a dragonfly. And technically, dragonflies, I believe, eat mosquitoes.
And they're pretty cool.
One of the things they do.
They're scary. Like my wife will always be like, but like I've never been bitten by a dragonfly. They're
kind of beautiful. Actually.
They don't do anything.
And I just wonder, is this because there might have been a leftover remnant of that 3-foot dragonfly? Because if you saw a 3-foot dragonfly,
holy shit,
maybe now it's not so cute and cool looking, right?
Yeah.
I was in the garage working out the other day, and a wasp came in, and he got trapped in there with me, and my whole workout got shut down. I've got a stick, and I'm just swinging it and freaking out, so I don't get stung by this wasp. So yeah, if it was 3 feet, I wouldn't go the fuck outside.
Here's another really interesting one that started coming up. And again, this all started with pulling out of my ass bugs or demons, and then sort of like reverse sourcing all of that. There is, in the Aztec religion, there's something called the obsidian butterfly. And I don't know if you ever saw the Dusk Till Dawn TV series that was based on the movies.
No, I didn't even know
if
there
you
was
didn't,
a TV
don't worry
series.
about it. It's not horrible, but it's not great.
What's it called? The obsidian?
The obsidian butterfly. And the obsidian butterfly is actually this goddess of insects, but she also coincidentally happens to be the goddess of infant mortality.
Whoa.
So now you've got this weird and this will also become a repeating pattern that demonic bugs or bugs that represent pestilence also tend to be in the same category of babies dying or of children dying. So
I was going to say, because it feels like she picked her powers out of a hat. Like you just go fucking, bugs, dead babies. All right, fine, that's my thing.
Here's another fun one. On that particular obsidian butterfly, which was representative of this Aztec goddess of infant mortality, another associated moth in that same family is called the moth Rothschilda.
What?
And
come on.
There's another one. The family is from Saturnidae. So you've got... I'm not just making this up. These are like puzzle pieces that just kind of automatically fall into place.
What the hell?
This is her, by the way, if you bring this up. Yeah. This is the obsidian butterfly. What's her name? This is a Mexican.
I wish I could pronounce it properly. It's called Palati.
So.
Okay. Your computer's restarting.
Palati. This is the obsidian butterfly, which represents victims of infant mortality. and that is within the family named after Saturn and the group named after Rothschild. I'll let you guess where that comes from.
What the hell is going on there, man? That's crazy.
Might be an angel, right? That might not be a demon. It could be an angel.
Could
So
be
are
a
you
good
saying,
guy.
so we're opening up our insect murder spectrum to
Yeah.
butterflies now.
Well,
Correct.
maybe,
Well,
yeah.
a moth.
Okay.
But I mean, it looks like a
Are
butterfly.
you just here building a case about whether or not we should be killing bugs?
We're going to get there.
This feels like exactly what he's doing.
Sounds like
okay.
a genocide.
When I was a kid and I was doing all that torture, that was instinctive. I knew intuitively in my heart that I should be doing that.
Well, and I think that every kid, just in your defense, that I don't necessarily think that you're still a psychopath. I think every
do it
little
anymore.
kid might be a psychopath. I remember cutting worms in half when I was like
Yeah.
5 or 6, thinking like I'm actually creating life. That was one worm, now it's 2 worms. Like
Is that true, though? Does that work?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, they just die,
Well,
right?
well, actually, flatworms it does work. That's a
Aren't
whole
those
rabbit hole.
colon-dwelling parasites, though?
Flatworms?
I'm
no,
not really sure.
No, flatworms, they can be parasitic, but those are worms that you can cut them in half and they will turn into 2 different worms.
So then in that case, you are doing... I don't know if that's good.
There's
but-
a whole rabbit hole on that. We're going to skip that for now. Did you know that there's a patron saint of insects?
No.
No,
That's
what the
interesting.
So look this up. Dominic of Silos, Saint Dominic. He is the patron saint of insects. And
Saint Dominic.
part of the and I think that he was born in the year 1000 and he lived until like 1074, and he was revolting against somebody that was trying to take over an abbey. And they basically, you ever see these movies where someone in the military gets in trouble and they like station them off in Antarctica, or they station them off in the middle of nowhere, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's your punishment. That's kind of what happens to this guy, to Saint Dominic. Dominic gets put into the worst abbey in the country, and it's dilapidated, it's falling down, it's moldy, it's absolutely in ruins. And he
This dude
actually
here, huh?
spends the next 6 years improving this, and he makes it one of the most impressive churches in the entire area. And this is complete just guessing based on what other people like. Why the hell is this guy named the patron saint of insects? It was because
He loved bugs.
this church was infested with insects, and he was able to sort of get them out. So if you wanted to get bugs out of a room, like you have like a cockroach, like a termite infestation,
Yeah.
you would actually call on Saint Dominic. I think you have to be a cat. I don't know how this works. You got to be a Catholic to summon.
I don't know. I think you could be
saints in order
Orthodox
to-
or something, too. I don't know how that works.
It's demonic, not demonic, but it's
Demon,
daemonic
yeah,
to
yeah.
like summon a neutral entity to. But anyways, you would call on Saint Dominic to get rid of bugs. So he's the patron saint of getting rid of insects.
I got to admit, out of all the things you could be, I'm sure it was a big deal back in the day. Like, we don't have bugs the way that we used to have bugs, as far as them being a problem indoors, especially when you've got like food that you're trying to store and all these different things. Like, our systems now, it's really hard for a bug to get into a refrigerator. Like, you're pretty good. So this guy probably was the shit back in the day, but just kind of looking at it, like, to be the patron saint of bugs, while there's patron saints of cool shit rolling around, and you're the patron saint of bugs.
Well, I think he's got like 5 or 6 other things,
Oh,
and
okay.
someone tacked
He
bugs
picked those
on
out of a
top
hat
of that
too?
Yeah.
Whoa. It's very interesting.
I don't know
man.
if you get to pick what you get to be the patron saint of. I think it's like after you die, somebody
goes,
assigns
yeah.
it to you later, which kind of sucks.
That does suck.
But if you didn't know that there was a patron saint of insects, now you know, and that was Saint Dominic.
It would be cool to be remembered as the patron saint of retards. Like, after we're dead and gone, like if somehow that happened, that would be dope.
if there's a trajectory to get there, I feel like you're at least on the trajectory.
Yeah, I'm on the path. It's just I'm kind of retarded. I can't tell where the path goes from here. But by the way, do they all have to be bald on the top? I feel like all the saints pictures they have,
I think that has something to do with the halo.
but and then they're bald back
yeah.
here.
Like
Well, the
bald
first
pate.
the first visual depiction of him, I think it's that one that you got on the left there.
Oh, okay. He looks like the Pope.
That was created, I think, 400 or 500 years after he died. So it's really hard to determine exactly what the patron saint of insects looks like.
Okay, that's interesting. But he might have had the
Because
fish
he
hat.
died in 1074.
Damn.
Another interesting one that pre-Christianity, you had different. So Zeus. Now a lot of people think of like the pantheon, and Zeus is like the head, but Zeus was kind of like Baal. There was like
He was Baal
and Baal
Hadad, right?
Zebub. There was a Baal, like there was a bunch of different Baals, and Zeus
Big balls, little balls.
was Baal Zephyr, and because Zephyr was like the name of a mountain. That's apparently where the cave that like the Zeus was born in. So it was like god of the mountain where he was Cain out of, and that ends up becoming Zeus. But there's multiple Zeus as well, and one of those was Zeus Apomius, and this was named as the fly-averting Zeus. So before you had a patron saint to get rid of bugs, you would pray to Zeus, the anti-fly Zeus, and he would get rid of bugs. So now you've got this really interesting historical precedent where people were praying to their god to get rid of bugs, and maybe in an oversimplistic way, but if you're praying to your god to get rid of something that's a nuisance, in like a black and white version, like if I
Sure.
pray to God to get rid of the bad represents the demons and the archaic and the things that you don't want around.
I even understand the idea of like praying to these lowercase g gods, you know, in my opinion, for regular shit. Like if life really was that hard back then and you weren't getting rain and the crop, you know, yield was looking like dog shit and people were starving and you
Well-
could appeal to this thing and be like, give me rain.
All right, so follow me here. We might be on the precipice of that
Precipice.
exactly, on the precipice, right at the cusp, right at the
Right at the
mushroom
tip.
of it.
Right at the tip.
What we've been thinking about, like, in the argument with Alberino was,
No, there's no argument
are
with Alberino.
aliens demonic? And then it comes down to, he's like, well, there's good, you know, there's two sides. And I'm like, I
He
don't-
suggested there was neutral. I'm willing to forgive him for that.
Neutral demons?
Neutral aliens.
well, so he's not operating on the idea that aliens are demons, but that they are, some of them can have demonic qualities and some of them are neutral or whatever. We don't think so.
That feels very semantic because again, like even the origin of the word demon started from daemon, and a daemon was supposed to be a neutral entity that could be pushed to do bad things or good things.
feels very Jewish.
It kind of is. Well, anyway, I don't want to like, you
He
know.
didn't
No,
mean
no,
that,
no. He
donut.
didn't mean
He
that
didn't mean
at
that.
all. By
Not
the
that
way,
way,
as you're talking, I'm
donut.
just going to bring up an image of Beelzebub. But please continue.
We really need Donut at the show.
I,
He's the best.
I want Donut to come so bad.
my dad
I want him to
was
come.
asking about him. He was asking about him. He's like, "What's up with your friend Alex? He's
Yeah.
like, how's he doing?"
He's fucking the greatest, dude. He's the greatest. We got to get him down here. This is an image of Beelzebub, according to
Skull and bones in the
Wikipedia.
wings. Look at that.
Yeah. So just a giant fucking.
Anyway, the
But-
idea would be that I don't know, tall whites, Pleiadians, or like the good aliens, the neutral aliens, will come and relieve us from the threat, which appears to be
The Greys.
coming with this whole disclosure thing. We're going to declassify alien life. We're going to declassify UFOs. I think with that will come the threat of the Greys, and we'll have a really nice bad guy to kick around. We have J.D. Vance talking about aliens being demonic, and you have that narrative also being pushed, not just by us, but by the government assets that are ready to roll this stuff out. In response, I know it's like good guy, bad guy, right hand, left hand path. These bad aliens will come. They'll be a nuisance in a way. They look like fucking bugs. And then you'll have something that looks like people, and they'll come and they'll relieve us of that alien threat. And that's when people will be ripe for the deception. That's how, like, we're reading how they're playing things out. Of course, things will change. Things are going to go left or right from here, but it looks like that's the play for right now. And it's the same play that you're talking about, where it's like we're going to go to this lowercase g god, the god who has supposed himself above us, and he is above us.
Get rid of these bugs.
Yeah, hey, relieve us of these demons, which are probably coming from you anyway. And of course, it's within their power to relieve you of the demons that they are, torturing you with. So, good guy, bad guy kind of thing. And
That's an interesting thing
Yeah.
too that they would do that because when you have
it probably pisses Freemasons off if we attribute the quote to Albert Pike, right? If they're
if the people need a hero, we
Yeah,
will
we
provide one
provide
for them. Which
I'm
is like
outta here.
It's like a
outta here. I'm done.
paraphrase,
I'm
like a
done.
fucked up paraphrase.
Yeah.
But
same idea.
when you look into sort of like poltergeist activity or demonic, hauntings and such, the black fly thing, like insects are often a part of that. I had a weird thing, the audience knows it, but I had these shadow people.
I want to say something real quick.
Go ahead.
God has worked in an amazing way.
What is it?
Okay?
What's it mean?
StreamYard just created an update where we can do, well, not on your thing. I guess you have to update it. We can do a pop-out chat.
What's that mean?
Means that we can take the chat out of the screen and away.
Oh, they've had that for a while.
No, they didn't. They have not had that for a while. I would have done it. So now
I was doing it on Timeline Cleanse.
No, you can't do that. You can't take that chat out. Whatever. This is a anyway. We
can take it
can
away
have
from
Matt
Matt.
back on the show now.
We can have Matt back on the
We
show.
can take the chat away from the main screen.
Because he's got a problem. He just can't. So
This is great.
I had this weird house that I was living in, and there was fucking shadows all the time and things banging on the windows and everybody was getting sleep paralysis and for some reason I didn't make the correlation at the time, but at the height of it, when things were really spooky and my wife, I don't have a button anymore, she would go, she would go, the room felt like really fucked up last night. And I go, yep, I know. And he's just trying to ignore it. Like, I don't know what to do. And my house was filled with black flies. And no matter how clean we kept it, we were moving furniture and we were cleaning everything and we were killing them in mass, like killing so many of them. I mean, like I was like a psychopath.
How many would you say you killed?
Hundreds.
Oh, that was an underhanded softball.
Wait, what did I? Oh, that was about 6 million. Yeah, well, at the most it was
Donut,
about
please.
271,000. But I killed so many of them, and they just kept showing up. And it wasn't until after we left that place where I was like, "Oh
it's
yeah,
crazy.
that's
We
weird."
haven't been talking about the Jews like that. Like,
No,
kind of over it.
Well, we've had people try to come on the show to talk about the Jews, and that's exactly what we said. We go, "Hey, fuck it, we don't care.
Yeah.
It's over it. We already did that. That was
We have
the
events
first."
to throw.
This
got
show has
friends.
a linear trajectory, and we have enemies along the way. First, it was the Jews, and eventually it became, individuals, Timothy Alberino, you name it.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna kill all the bugs. I don't have time to talk about.
Actually, I think that's something that this is going to really take the show off.
This is something I look at
Yeah.
Alberino like this is something I could reach across the table and I go, "Hey,
Bugs?
bugs, you hate him too, right? Let's kill him."
Well, here's another weird thing too, that on social media, it's one of the few things that you can kill in mass and monetize,
Yeah.
and you don't get banned over it. There are some crazy, it's
true.
Like there's one dude that I don't necessarily like follow it, but it just keeps coming on my feed. He has like a huge Tupperware, like Tupper bin.
I follow it.
yeah.
And, like, he'll
million
just put,
ants
like-
versus whatever.
Let's see how an ant deals with this beetle. Here's how a grasshopper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, man, like it's not like I feel bad for the bug, but there's something visceral that makes me feel like this should be illegal. This is like
Yeah.
amoral.
Yeah.
That this thing is like like you can see it trying to get away and then just give up.
It's something unhuman too, the way it reacts. Like it almost. You ever play like
retarded.
Final Fantasy, and you press the attack, and he goes
Turn-based
like that,
combat?
and then the guy flinches. That's how bugs kind of
Yeah,
fight.
bugs fight in turn-based combat.
In turn-based combat and with like life bars, and they're like, shit. And then finally, when it goes to zero, like it looks like they might be at full strength. At zero, they're like,
they go on
like,
their back.
completely dead. Yeah,
I
what
like the one
happened
where
there?
it is a million ants in a Tupperware, and then they drop one like big bad son of a bitch in there. Like
Yeah.
a Black Widow or something crazy. Nothing
swarm
can
'em.
beat a million ants. Everything dies to a million. Even if the ants are super tiny, like we're talking like this big, and the bug itself is like that big, a million ants wins every time.
There is that one breaking point, like in the Final Fantasy video game. It's like the final hit, and they get that final hit on the Black Widow. And he's like, "Fuck, my life is." He's just upside down. His life bar has been completely depleted. Hit points gone.
Yeah, I do.
Very
I
interesting,
watch
right?
those videos. I do
I
like
watch
those
some
videos.
obsessive and rug cleaning videos. That should also be illegal.
I
but
like it. But you know what? The one I've
Continue,
seen
Thomas.
recently, they've been taking like a cluster of ants, like an ant patty.
Uh-huh.
They're so small, and they're just in a giant, and they just put them on on smoldering coals,
Oh,
and then you just watch them all go on fire, and yeah, I feel nothing.
Well, let me pose another question to you guys.
Okay.
How do you feel about eating bugs?
I hate that.
Eat the bugs. Eat the bugs was the most insulting thing about 2020.
Really?
I think so. Like,
It was up there.
besides all the vaccination stuff and all like the locking people down, when you had Klaus Schwab on the stage dressed as a supervillain, he's like, "Eat the bugs." I was
Yeah.
like, "Fuck." You know what? Everything else, but not,
Yeah, but not that.
but not that.
Go ahead,
Maybe
jab me
I'll-
with that fucking thing.
Maybe I'll eat a bug, but not now that you told me to. There was something super nefarious about it. I'm just like, that part of it, right? Like was just it was the icing on the cake of all the insults that
Was it
came
because
from
he said it? If it was someone else that said it, would it be okay?
the
I
World
never-
Economic Forum? It's the implication of them telling you like you're gonna eat the lowest form of sustenance available. Yeah.
Like my thing is, if I eat if I ever eat a bug, it's in this fashion. Like,
Hold on a second.
oh,
What do you
what's
want,
going
Matt?
on, Matt?
You got people calling now ordering the Matt's a wanker, dude.
Is that happening?
Yeah. Yeah, he's back.
Hey,
there.
buddy.
The paranoid American, dude. This guy crushes.
Bugs.
No, I know it is. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
nasty.
Get him one large Matt's a wanker.
So
Sorry,
what was the
Chad.
drink you wanted again?
It's just a large pretzel
Get the fuck
Guys,
out.
call up the Standard Coffee Shop, 1552 Bella Cruz Drive. Look up the phone number and
You see-
order yourself a large iced matzo wanker.
This is why, and so now you're affecting his business.
Is he mad now?
No, he's happy about this.
I'm very
But then
pleased
he
with
gets
that.
sad. So he affects his business up front, and then
Yeah.
when Matt's in your chair, Matt affects his business in the back, and then he gets real emotional about it. I'm
I
like,
don't
you
get
can't.
emotional. I just get annoyed because we have a show that we have to put on. It's got to be
He has an
entertaining and
entire
fun.
coffee shop up front that
Yeah.
he's trying to run,
See,
right?
like,
You see-
okay,
do you
Thomas
understand?
is a professional though, right? Thomas has notes, and no matter how much I derail it, Thomas waits for like the slight lull.
He's-
But as soon
he's
as I'm
great.
done
He's
saying
great at
something,
what he
and he
does.
goes, "Let's bring it right back to the research," right? But Matt, what he does is as we're talking, go to camera me, go to make it on the camera me.
Okay.
You got to press it. I mean,
Yeah, my bad.
So this is what you're talking to me. Talk to me right now.
Yeah, David, what are you doing? Yep, there you go. Yeah, okay. All right, I understand your frustration.
And it's crazy because we have a show to do, and he's just and honestly,
I know, but that's how he feels.
no,
feeds
he's
his
not doing
family,
anything. There's
too.
nobody. This place is going under. Nobody's buying coffee from here. All right. So anyway,
Giving it away.
I don't even remember what the hell I was saying. See, and then he derails it again.
Well, you're talking about eating bugs.
Oh yeah. If I ate a bug, I would eat it like this.
Isn't it funny though, like that
You know?
World Economic Forum correlation between like eat the bugs and like world domination and you being like squashed down? That's
Eat the
included.
demons.
That's like one of the 3 points: live in the pod, eat the bugs, be happy. Right?
Yeah.
Have nothing, be happy.
Silver lining, and maybe this is like the Freemason part of me coming out.
Here we go.
But I almost feel that people have taken this the wrong way. That because the messenger ended up overshadowing the message he was saying. But like, okay, if someone told you be happy, that seems like a positive message, right?
Yeah.
Live in a pod. Maybe you don't want to live in a pod, but it's like have yourself a shelter, have yourself a home.
Podcast.
Ultimately positive.
Yeah.
And then the eat the bugs, I feel like we are on a trajectory when that might legitimately be the only form of protein that your grandkids will be able to afford or come across. They like people eating cows might be a thing that only the ultra elite top 0.01% do at like a $30,000 a night, Four Seasons thing.
Well,
Fuck
if
that.
you
It'll
control-
always be me.
If you control, what were they proposing on controlling? Like, how much grass you can grow?
It's like effectively a
soil-
carbon tax.
How much sun
know?
you can use to grow. So yeah, if we do fall under that kind of totalitarian control, sure, we won't be able to have cows, but cows are fucking really easy to get and really easy to continue to proliferate if you're not retarded.
So there are a lot of
aside from the amount of resources that they take to actually bring them all the way up from calves into like full-grown cows, and then to like maintain that, there might just not logistically be enough resources for you to do that scalable indefinitely. So I mean, the silver lining being that maybe that was like a pro tip. He was like, hey, if you get used to eating bugs now, then when it's the only option in 10 or 20 years,
I'll eat man
you'll be
flesh.
ahead of the curve. You'll figure out how much cumin to add and how much garlic to add. And like, you'll kind of figure out versus, hey, guess what? Yesterday you had a burger, no burgers ever again. Now you're eating crickets. If you've already had your palate accustomed to eating bugs, and let me just
I
say,
would go vegan before I went crickets.
if you've never had what they call a lemon ant, they are legitimately tasty. It is like an actual snack.
This is
You're
one thing.
shaking
you
your
work for the
heads,
fucking
but-
World
You can
Economic
come
Forum.
over here and
this
you can
Freemason from the fucking World Economic Forum.
Spread your Freemason Masonic propaganda, but I will not allow you. Listen,
You know how
there
much
is so
steak
much.
I eat?
There's so much space on the earth in general. Period.
That's true.
That is not used.
I don't believe in the scarcity thing.
There
that
is
they're
no
pushing.
scarcity here.
I think in the
This-
coastal regions, we're all glommed on top of one another. But I think you just fucking spread out a little
I mean,
bit.
some of the scarcity is like buying up farmland and then doing bullshit with it, or
Burning it down, culling
creating
herds.
huge data centers that take up space where you could feed people.
Well,
with.
again, the real trajectory that we're looking at in real world, right? Not in like some idealistic world.
Sure.
Is that less protein is becoming more expensive, beef is becoming more expensive, and it's very rare that you're going to think everyone out there is going to just like start growing their own cows. They're going to start growing all their own
Well,
food.
while the peasants eat fucking bugs, I'm going to continue to eat. Look, all right, protein.
That's true. If you want to
Protein
live
bars
in
and
if you
powders.
want to live in an apartment, then I guess you could eat some fucking bugs, dummy.
That's it.
So it is a prediction, which is why I did the opposite of that. Like when he was saying that, I moved out of New York where the pods were.
But now all your birds are dead.
Now all my birds are dead, but I can fix that. I can remedy that fairly
You
quickly
should
if I
get
wanted
goats.
to.
I would get goats because you could eat goats.
Eat the shit
You
out of
can
a
milk
goat.
them. So protein bars and powders have cricket flour in them. Pasta and baked goods contain wheat flour fortified with cricket and mealworm flour. Red dye. I don't
Yeah.
know if it means red dye 40.
No, it's the Red Dye 40 is the artificial version. So now with like the push to make America healthy again and get rid of artificial coloring, technically it does mean there will be more bugs in your food.
Okay, I'm just going to
because-
eat the red dye 40 then. Because red dye has crushed cochineal bugs in it. Natural flavors, when you see, what is all that?
It's cool. We have the chat on our
Oh,
phone.
your chat's on your phone? That's kind of cool. So natural flavors. You know, you see chips and it says natural flavors on it, which is always like, what the fuck is in the natural flavors? Grasshopper or locust extracts to boost savory umami flavors. Energy drinks, cochineal bugs, and chitin from insect shells. Chocolate and spreads. Mealworm-based chocolate and spreads. That's fucking disgusting. Dude, mealworms are some of the grossest creatures in the world to me. Meat alternative burgers. So every time one of these dumbasses eats a 100% plant-based burger, it contains mealworm larva protein.
Ugh.
And then tomato sauce. The FDA allows for tomato sauce to include a small amounts of maggots and fruit fly eggs. in
and
tomato
mouse
projects.
droppings and human hair.
Yeah, that's
and,
just like
that's
there's a certain passable
the
amount
range of error. Yeah,
of feces.
But I mean, I guess I'm just thinking out loud here. This isn't necessarily part of the point, but if locusts are going to be one of the big parts of a plague and pestilence that's supposed to wipe everyone out, then just don't eat the crops and eat the freaking locusts, and you're
No,
It's a
I'm
net
not going to eat
positive.
the locust. I refuse to. I will get gout before I eat the bugs, and I will eat man flesh, possibly.
Okay. Here's some more references to bugs as demons. Cotton Mather, Salem Witch Trials, right?
Okay.
One of the first books that he wrote about demons was called Beelzebub and His Plot. So here we've got another reference to this god of flies, god
Okay.
of insects, as this is now American demonology outside of just the European sort of demonology. So this makes its way over to this. Japan. So we talked about Europe. We're talking about like America. This
And
is like
Japan will eat
Christianity.
bugs. They don't have a problem with it.
They eat bugs, but they have even more demon bugs in their culture. They have a spider lady called Jorogumo. She is an actual spider woman, and she basically is supposed to be an attractive spider woman that
Nice.
lures men in and then eats them like a spider would be, like a Black Widow style.
I've
Right,
heard
right.
of that. They've used that sort of plot device in things that I've seen before.
They have most of them are spiders. There's another spider that eats people, and it's a shapeshifter, and it deceives people, called the Tushigumu, which is in Japan. And then finally, they have a giant centipede called a yokai, which is supposed to live in the mountains and terrorize people.
Hell yeah.
So there's not any good versions of
Here on the screen,
human
this
bug
is
hybrids.
the Toshigomu, I believe is what we just said, right? Toshigomu, giant nightmare, three-eyed spider demon creature with a fat tuchus.
Oh, wow.
So some people have this fallacy where they're like, well, if the book was written in the 1300s, they didn't lie back then. And if I can find enough old works, I think my flaw when I give things credit, maybe they don't deserve it, is that you have these insect-human hybrids that represent evil and deception and pestilence across every culture, across all
Right.
of history. So there's this motif that for whatever reason humans are constantly saying, this thing is evil, let's get away from this. Maybe just because it's ugly looking, but I mean, humans level. I mean, what is this quote? God loves ugly, right? So like humans assign ugliness and that means it's bad, but is that
You ever see a
something that
pug?
we're inherent?
It's weird because with dogs, the uglier you make them, in some weird way, the more adorable they become.
Well, there's a lot to that, right? Because we're talking about the functionality of what they do. And they do perform this decay aspect, and then that turns into regeneration. But I guess the question, man, it's a deep. Let me think about that for a second.
When
Well,
I
That's
was-
also an alchemical aspect. That in alchemy, usually the reference to bugs and worms and things that are like maggots, that would usually refer to like that rejuvenation thing, like a reincarnation where you're taking, a lot of it was like you would take the carcass of a cow and you
Yeah.
would stick something in the carcass and sew it up and wait for it to fester. And then once the maggots would start to form, that was seen. Depending on if you believe that it was all allegory or if it was all literal, right? Same thing with like Christian interpretation. There's the alchemical version. Well, the literal version was that they actually thought that spontaneous life was coming out of death, that the maggots weren't coming from flies landing and laying eggs, but that the death just naturally would create life, and they were witnessing this like cyclical version of reality. And then you've got like the more alchemical, allegorical version, and this is even gets a little bit more deeper, where they're saying that the cow on the ground is then turning into these maggots, which then fly. So now it's like an inversion of
like
something on the ground goes up into the sky.
Oh, that's
so it's like
interesting.
this really interesting aspect of like this duality. So bugs represent that.
Even
in
without
alchemy.
that complexity, you do have like insect-rich soil. Typically is good soil, right? Like if you're going to
You got
plant
worms
something,
in your soil, yeah.
then you know it's a good place to plant. And the same thing is true with like compost, right? So if these bugs are going to eat the cow and they're going to shit, well, then that's going to be good for the soil as well. It's going to enrich the soil and it's going to enrich the compost in that way.
It points back to like free will in a way. It's what we were talking about before the show about like being manipulative and choosing. So obviously I'm coming up from a perspective, a Christian perspective, but more of like, and not to say, again, to define Christianity, I believe in Jesus Christ, but like what I try to do most of my day is define or understand what God is and the characteristic of why this entity does what he does and behaves the way he behaves. And at the end of it, it would be free will, right? Because we have to choose God rather than this array of other things. So in a sense, the bugs, even though they are pestilence, they still perform this duty of regeneration. So like they're put here, they're on here as a pestilence, the same way that a demon would be a pestilence to us. Demons, fallen entities that tempt us, cause us, whisper in our ear to do malevolent things, which would send us to the pit of fire. They're absolutely necessary in the ecosystem of who are you?
It's a spiritual cleanup crew.
It's a testing ground in a way, but like it also gets you a thing. So the same thing with the bugs, like we don't want them in our house and I don't want them on me or on my food, but they're going to be necessary to the regeneration of my food. They're going to be necessary to the decomposition of your loved ones that will then go back into the earth and then grow this stuff. Like it's a necessary thing. I don't want it, but it's a proving ground. You kind of understand what I'm getting at
Well, I
here?
wondered if demons are technically like these fallen beings, right? They could have been good and then they turn bad, or maybe they're neutral or whatever. Could the same be said as bugs? Because is there a possibility that bugs might have been either benign or neutral, but some of them are just like evil now?
Huh. That's interesting. I was watching that show From. You know that show? It's on like MGM Plus or it's on.
It feels like a Stephen King, but it's not a Stephen King. But it does
honestly,
that same
it bums
thing.
me out a little bit because the acting is like just above a Pix 11 show. Like, where you have like fucking The Flash and
Very
shit.
obvious acting kind of stuff.
And it annoys me because there's not any really good actors in it. But if you can get past that, it's a fascinating story. We've gotten to this part now where like there is an entity engaging with these people.
Oh, by the way, this is very important. I'd be remiss if we didn't bring this up. 1 second.
Oh, by the way, you know what doesn't have maggot protein in it?
What?
Sport drink.
Sport drink doesn't, yeah.
Use promo code SQUAD, guys.
Well, they probably have a margin of error that allows for
Nope,
a
I asked them.
small
They said
amount.
fucking 0 is the margin of error.
But we all know it's easy to lie.
They include a little margin of error for human feces, but not for
not for fly feces.
not for fly feces. Yeah. So, but in that show From, this entity that's interacting with people so far has only manifested as cicadas, swarm of cicadas.
I'm sure that Thomas knows about this, but he needs to see this as well. Like when we're talking about
Oh, this is probably something he doesn't know. I don't think he knows
entities.
about this. Did you know elephants?
Dude, I think I'm ahead of you guys on this curve.
Oh, you
by-
think you know about elephant tits and
Yeah,
more than us?
Yeah. I think I brought this up about 2 years ago on Secret Society of Good Guys, and as soon as I brought it up, I was just seeing elephant titties on my feed all over the place. Like everyone else also discovered elephant titties.
Well, admittedly, we just discovered them very recently.
Well, let me tell you where I found them from, because it's actually, I think, more important than where you found it from. Because you probably found it online and you were like, oh, those titties.
We actually found them from Skiba News Network. They showed us the tits.
Okay, well, here's a better source. James Fraser, who's the one that wrote The Golden Bough in the 1800s, I think. And this is where
this guy reads
Stanley
a lot of stuff.
Kubrick got a lot of his information. In fact, there's this really famous story where Stanley Kubrick goes to one of the heads of these film studios he was working with, and he carts in a whole tray of like a 17-volume of James Fraser's Golden Bough on a Bridge.
I thought he was going to say elephant tits.
And, well, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
He's trying to give this guy the book, and the guy's like, Stanley, I've got a business to run here. I can't read about mythology. And the famous quote was, this isn't mythology, this is your life. Like, Stanley Kubrick took this unabridged series. Anyways, I start reading the unabridged version of Golden Bough by Fraser, and I think like by book 2 or 3, and he's talking about tribes all across the world and things that they do and the things they don't do. And one of the things that he mentions is that in African tribes, if you had a pregnant wife at home or if you were trying to conceive, you were not allowed to kill an elephant. It was like one of the biggest taboos. And the reason was because elephant tits look so much like human tits.
Yeah, they do.
That it was essentially like you were harming a human female, and that means that if you kill elephant tits, now your human at home, like your wife's never going to conceive, or your child is going to be hurt, or it's not going to be able to be breastfed, because it's almost like this like against like
Are
thing.
you aware of like the Jasher thing where the Tower of Babel's destroyed and for whatever reason some people groups are turned into like different animals? I think some of them are turned into like orangutans and some of them are turned into elephants. And if you look at the skeletal structure of an elephant's foot in particular, it looks like a woman's foot in a wedge. And if you look at the skull, it bears a lot of resemblance to like a human skull. It's just all morphed and fucked up. But the third one being the tits, it's like maybe there's something to that. This extra canonical Jewish text.
Here's the skull.
Yeah. I think the foot is always the much more
So
compelling.
it has like the mandible, like a jaw.
Yeah.
I mean, if an ancient, or I mean, like a modern scientist were to recreate this and not know it's an elephant, it would look like a fucking crazy looking human. They put human skin on it.
Yeah, everything but the nose. Like if the nose was different.
It was just like a big nose, like a Jewish guy. No,
And they put this at the Natural Museum of History, and then like your kids would have to learn about it, and then like they'd have to answer what the teacher said that was,
and then repeat it
That's how
back to
works.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
let me just say, I was way ahead of the curve on elephant titties.
well,
so.
I mean, I think Africans were.
Okay.
I honestly thought you were going to a different place. I thought you were going to
Thomas,
say
you
like
black?
fucking because resources are scarce in Africa.
Yeah.
They're eating mosquito patties and shit. I'm like, you think they sucked on elephant tits? They definitely sucked on elephant tits.
But they don't kill them because it would hurt the reproduction, and I mean they are able to reproduce out there.
Africans?
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe a little too much.
yeah, probably too much. I would say
Because they're not killing enough elephants.
Oh, that's exactly why. If they killed a few elephants, they probably have something to fucking eat. That's not mosquito pies.
Let me bring us to some more pop culture references, just because again, if my barrier for if something it has legs or not is how many different cultures and how many different timelines that like this archetype keeps reoccurring.
Right.
So Kafka, Metamorphosis, where he basically turns into the big cockroach. This is like a very demonic story, I believe. This is not positive for him. It becomes like this Kafka-esque reality. You've got the Men in Black,
Yeah.
Edgar the Bug,
Yeah.
where the aliens come out,
Yeah.
talking about aliens as bugs. Aliens are demons, bugs are demons. A could like right. That's the A
That's
equals
literally
B equals C.
That's my research from now on. Where I go, how come in Men in Black the aliens were cockroaches and bugs are demons?
You've got The Fly. You've got
Yeah.
Mimic. You've got Starship Troopers, where the enemy race to humans were these giant bugs that they had to kill. Although I believe in the non-Hollywood version, they were actually humans and they were being trained to see other people as bugs.
Okay.
Which made it okay to kill them because they're big and they're ugly. You've also got in Naked Lunch, which was from William Burroughs. Heavy MK Ultra CIA connections there.
Naked Lunch?
Naked Lunch. This also refers to these giant insectoids that like worked on typewriters. And then you've got the Tingler. And I don't know if you ever heard of the
I'm
Tingler
sorry.
before. It
Tingler.
sounds fun.
That's what I get when I sit on the toilet for too long.
The Tingler
Had
was
that today.
this is really interesting. The Tingler was the very first Hollywood movie to ever mention LSD 25 or LSD ever. It was Vincent Price. I want to say 1959. I might have that slightly off. But the concept was that if you
Yeah,
fed someone enough psychedelic. I actually knew what the year was. I just say that so I don't sound like
Seem
I'm too full of
Sound like
myself.
a pompous
I see.
asshole.
I love that. I
This guy
love that.
memorizes
Yeah.
the shit that he reads.
It's called manipulation.
yeah. It's a good
And
book.
it's
I
easy.
like that.
I manipulate the people. It's easy.
Watch it.
So the premise of the Tingler is that it opens up on Vincent Price reading out of a book. The book's spine says LSD 25. At this point, the psychedelic revolution had not started. People did not know what LSD meant.
Okay.
It was an insider Hollywood thing because, a slight tangent, there was a pipeline that went from military to Hollywood doctors to Hollywood actors.
Makes sense.
And then from the Hollywood actors, Hollywood learns about what LSD is way before the hippies, way before
Is this an
MK
effort that's
Ultra.
on purpose, like a Laurel Canyon kind of a deal, or is this just like people with access?
Potato, I
Same
think
shit,
a little
right?
bit.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
So the premise of the Tingler is that if you give someone enough LSD and you can cause them to go into this, like basically a trip, and they start bugging out, pun intended,
See what you did there.
that if you can freak them out enough while they're tripping, you can manifest fear and it'll create a physical form. And that physical form turned into this like anthropod looking
Yeah.
thing. Kind of looks like a weird lobster, but like a bug.
Yeah, bring it up on the screen top. I got this.
A
image
terror
here.
bug would come out of your body and then they could like harness these terror bugs and then turn them
You
into
are a
like
bit
an
of a terror
army.
bug, Top Lobster, and yeah, there's some art here. I think I scrolled past it, but it's interesting the way that they depict it because it's like it's commandeering the body.
It looks like an earwig a little bit.
It does look like
Yeah.
an earwig, yeah. But check this. Oh, this one right here. That artwork is actually really killer, and you can see it's like it's seizing him by the neck, and it's got his kind of genitalias too going on there. It's attached to his sternum. So yeah, I mean the thing has gripped him with fear.
So here we have this is the most recent version of like bugs are demons, or bugs are these physical manifestations of pure terror that can actually come into the physical world and then attack you in the physical realm, not just in the mental realm. So here we've just got like a list of different bugs. In Constantine, one of the main bad guys, I think it's called the Vermin, and that was the Renaissance artist that I had you pull up. That some of his famous paintings are people that are made out of like vegetables and like his ears, a
Oh,
piece
right,
of
right. I
lettuce or
have
whatever.
that somewhere.
Well, some of his other paintings were actually these demons made out of insects, and that's where I believe the Constantine movie and the comic book sort of amalgamated these different things. So that there's just very long.
What was it called? The Vermin.
If you look up, the actual guy's name, I sent it to you because I couldn't pronounce it. But if you look up Vermin Constantine painting,
Is this is in the
Yeah,
movie?
isn't like the
this is from the movie, yeah,
the one
Violator.
with Johnny Depp, Keanu Reeves.
Right.
I don't remember this guy.
The Violator from Spawn as well.
Correct. He also turns into a big bug, and he's represented as sort of like a demon
Clown.
Satan.
Oogie
Yeah.
Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas, filled with bugs.
Correct.
I'm just saying shit.
well, and so okay, boogeyman.
Yeah,
that is
fuck
where
yeah.
the word bug came from, and bugbear and bugaboo.
Hell yeah, dude.
And-
I thought
and-
Bugaboo was a black slur.
Well,
Well,
that's getting
true?
jiggy, getting jiggy with it.
Moon cricket.
Or is it Jigaboo?
Oh my god,
Also,
that's a deep cut.
This is interesting. This Vermin man from Constantine. I want to pull this image
But
up.
I'm
because
glad
it's
you brought up
actually
Boogeyman, because Boogeyman has the exact same source as the original bug, meaning a disembodied spirit, creepy crawly
Yeah.
demon
Yeah.
entity. And the one constant theme of a boogeyman across all cultures, they all have different, not always called boogeyman. A lot of them have that same root. And the one theme about all boogeyman is that they eat children. That is the one thing that
that's
the parents
interesting.
would tell their kids: the boogeyman's going to come and get you. No matter what culture you're talking about, if there's a boogeyman, the main reason is because it's going to eat your children, and you're trying to scare your kids into cleaning their
Yeah.
room or like make their bed or whatever.
I
Brush
wonder
your
is
teeth.
this like so to some extent this is the Vermin from Constantine. It's actually pretty horrifying. But to some extent, have you taken a thing that already had legs and then created like this egregore out of it? Feeding it with the fear of children, fleshing it out with the imaginations of man, and then all of a sudden it's like, bitch, I'm here.
Yeah.
I can manifest.
I mean, I feel in a
Well-
classical sense, even in like the Greek daemon sense, this was just some sort of a tool or entity or neutral power that you kept summoning over and over again to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Is that not exactly what a magic ritual is? And
Sure.
if so, having the same amalgamation of like a demon encrusted, filled with insects representing a boogeyman to keep repeating this same archetype over and over throughout cultures. It's sort
Right.
of like summoning and doing a magic spell over and over
And
again.
each time it gets a little bit more fully realized.
Until you're eating them. And then here's where I think it is leading into. And this isn't just like wordplay, because again, the word bug didn't start meaning insects. It was that people were freaked out by the word bug and bugbear and boogeyman because it meant these disembodied spirits. And then you would see a swarm of insects and it would give you that same feeling.
Something interesting too is John the Baptist, who people thought was the Messiah for a little while. They were, or at least the shadow of the Messiah. Then they realized that he's like, oh no, he's the guy that's like leading the way. He only ate bugs. He didn't eat anything else.
That's
he ate,
so
like,
fucking crazy.
Locusts, crickets, shit like that.
What a
Strange.
crazy motherfucker.
Where did I don't know. I was just like,
I wonder if Jesus ever was like,
Let's throw stuff at
that
the
was
wall.
not like, I didn't tell him to do that.
yeah.
He just decided.
he was ahead of the curve.
There was just some things that like he was supposed to do, and then like other things that he just decided to do. And eating bugs was like,
really no explanation, but that was like explicitly his diet. And people found that strange at the
Crunchy.
time. Crunchy. Yeah.
my main thing is just like, when you squish them.
I'm not gonna eat the fucking bugs though, Thomas.
No, I'm not going to eat the bugs.
Also, St. John the Baptist, very venerated in Freemasonry. I don't know if that's just
That's
a
fascinating.
random coincidence.
Well, people
or
have
not.
been trying to.
Yeah.
What does Freemasonry make, by the way, as an
Of
aside?
Enoch.
Of Enoch, and this idea of like Enoch being Hermes,
Metatron.
Trismegistus.
You know, one of the things that was kind of disappointing
Trismegistus.
after being in Masonry for close to 2 decades is that a large majority of people, they join because they want ins on business or they want to know
Yeah.
the comptroller of the county or whatever. It is not a group that you join to learn more about esotericism and Book of Enoch. You might find a few people that are into that, but by and large, it is like the most entry level
Yeah.
of trying to learn about anything occult or esoteric.
That's what so like I said, I know a couple of guys that I went to high school with, and they get so mad every time anybody brings up, strangeness with the Freemasons. And I look at them and I go like, yeah, you're not lying. You're just a schlub. He's like a plumber. And he's just doing plumber shit. And he thinks that by nature of being in it, he understands any potential connections to the higher levels of Freemasonry or what influence,
Well, same thing with the
high level
Catholic
Freemasonry.
Church,
Yeah,
right?
same
Or-
thing. Yeah.
yeah.
You're just schlubs going through the motions.
This is not to cut any slack towards Thomas, who's clearly involved with all these things.
No, and he did say he was going to take a knee and
Christ is king.
There's going to be blood.
Thank you.
We have to draw blood. I think we have to put the blood on his right ear, take his shoe off, put it on his
Foot
right
and
toe,
thumb.
and his thumb. Thumb or thumb? You're
Shut
talking
up,
about
David.
people? All right.
Bury me where the tide ebbs and flows once every 24 hours.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know. We could honestly, what I found with most of these things is you can just kind of make things up. It's the intent that matters. You just go along and as long as you have your spirit.
I do
in the right
find
place.
that, I mean, Spawn, I can't get this out of my head now.
The Violator?
That is a bug, but also a clown. And the clown that
Yeah.
does represent these unclean spirits, the Nephilim.
I like
a
that.
lot of crazy, weird overlap, and it's not accidental. These people were occult. Well, they had occult knowledge, or at least they figured this stuff out and really nailed it. Seth
Figured.
MacFarlane nailed
and
this.
Spawn himself comes from hell. He
Yes.
escapes from hell to go and get revenge back in the world again. So like that whole premise is all about demons and demonic entities.
Yeah.
We're not like making a stretch here.
No. And I also think that Men in Black one was like really, that's really fascinating because that dude does come as a big cockroach.
Yeah.
And he's also wearing
with
a
the throat,
man
right?
suit. Yeah. Edgar suit. But it's interesting too that he comes disguised as a man.
Even the Nightmare Before Christmas, the boogeyman that you're describing, it's so apt because he's just
the boogeyman.
he's just like a sack that's sewn together, but
Yeah.
his innards, which would be like tons of bugs, that's
Yeah.
legion, right? If
That's
right?
crazy. Yeah.
So again, pointing back to this, the same thing with Pennywise the clown. He in the book, he says that he is legion. He has these orbs inside of him, but he is legion and he embodies a clown. Again, not so much of a bug correlation, but like the idea of many inhabiting one.
I think there's actually a really close connection there, though, because now you've got the clown, and clowns, even though they're supposed to be like funny and like entertaining for kids, it's something that terrifies kids.
Yeah.
The boogeyman.
Innately.
The boogeyman was literally, whether it's created or a real archetype, but that is an archetype that is meant to scare children. Clowns scare children. So I think that they kind of share a lot of the same DNA. A clown, what clowns are Nephilim, right?
Yeah.
Big boogeymen full of bugs are also Nephilim and therefore demons. I feel like it's all
Yeah.
we're playing in the same sandbox.
By the way, as a brief aside, why do they lay in the coffin and get ejaculated on by 100 men?
Are we talking Freemasons?
Yeah.
So this is Skull and Bones, I believe.
Damn it, dude!
I
don't think
knew
this
he was
is
going to try
Freemasons.
to
This is Skull and
deflect.
Bones.
He's deflecting. He's deflecting. Why does it have to be 100?
I don't really
Couldn't
think
it be
I don't think it's
99?
100. I don't think it's 100.
It's as many dudes as you can get. Really.
But it's not 0.
It's part humiliation ritual, and it's part. This is like OG Epstein Diddy party.
Partially
where
it's warm.
You know that you're doing something that people would basically never pay attention to you again, right? It would be character assassination. So to willingly put yourself in that situation where people know that you've
Yeah.
jerked off in a coffin, recounting all of your most depraved activities, and then as they're doing this, this is all allegedly. They're writing this into books, and then they store it in the room that it happens. So basically, it's saying that if you were ever in Skull and Bones and you talk about them, because if you're in a room and someone mentions Skull and Bones and you were in Skull and Bones, you're supposed to get up and leave and not say anything immediately.
Yeah.
So this was a way of like, if you violate that oath, then you know someone can just go and pull a book off the shelf and be like, let's see what you talked about while you were jerking off in the coffin. And like everyone knows that they've got that on them the same way that I think the better example is like NXIVM cult. That the NXIVM cult, in order to get in, you had to voluntarily record yourself saying horrific things
Right.
about like your family.
Oh, that's fucked up.
because that was the ticket to admission. Because
Yeah,
if
'cause
you
they
ever
could just
left,
play that shit.
and you know they played it, and it wasn't like they had to trick you into it. That was the cost of admission. So doing that and giving them blackmail on you was actually helping you elevate your status, the same way that jerking off in a coffin in front of a bunch of dudes would elevate your status.
Hell yeah.
Because now they have something on you.
That's going to happen at Bohemian Grove. You know, I don't know if we're
I
in
feel
that.
like that's a great idea, actually.
We should at least have the coffin. You could lay in it.
We could 3D print a coffin, probably.
I was thinking that, you know, back in the day, if you did gay blackmail on a politician, or cheating on your spouse blackmail on a politician, it would carry a lot more weight. We've watched these things dwindle off, where like an admission of a politician being gay is not really groundbreaking anymore, and it doesn't really even seem to do much to derail them. I feel like if you found out right now, like Howie Mandel has been jerked off on by no less than 87 dudes, but no higher than 100, it wouldn't really do anything to slow down like Howie Mandel's career. Like nobody would even care.
That's a weird example, though, because he's an agoraphobe. He doesn't like even shaking people's hands.
That's the front.
Thomas knows a lot of shit about a lot of shit.
He does. He reads, got information retention like a motherfucker. Not to be confused with semen retention, which is not what is displayed in Howie Mandel's case. And I think that if it did come out right now that Howie
the
Mandel was,
semen?
I don't think that anybody would care. I think that Skull and Crossbones, they're things that they do to keep their secrets. The only thing that really matters anymore, and I think we're actually kind of seeing it almost doesn't matter, is the fucking and the murdering and the eating of children. And the reason I say it doesn't really matter is because we've been so desensitized by constantly dangling the Epstein carrot in front of us that now I think if they really did come out and say like, yeah, they did it, we'd be like, somebody's going to get them for that.
I feel too. I mean, we're on that tangent right now, but I just feel like the same way that you might like beef, right? But it doesn't mean that
I'm not going to eat the fucking bugs.
if you like beef, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily like veal. Or if you've had veal once, it doesn't mean that you only eat veal when it comes up. And I feel the same way about elites. Like every once in a while, they might order the veal a la baby, but it doesn't mean that they're always ordering the veal.
I think at this point we would only go for the more egregious ones. Like if Howie Mandel was like, yeah, they jerked off on me.
Why Howie Mandel?
Yeah,
I fucking don't like him.
I agree.
Did
but
you not like Bobby's World?
I mean, I saw it when I was a kid.
Which ironically, his best friend was a bug? The spider, right?
Motherfucker.
every time.
When he was a monster in the Monster Under the Stairs, whatever it was he a bug monster? Was there bugs in that movie?
I don't know.
I'm sure if we tried hard
You're
enough.
talking about Little Monsters
Yeah, yeah.
with Kevin.
Right.
Arnold.
From fucking
Wonder Years.
Wonder Years. I'm sure if we tried hard enough, we can connect that to bugs because this is how this theory works.
Well,
Is
he
you
was
start with
two-horned, and the two-horned entity. This
the
is also
mandibles?
related to agriculture, related to sacrifice.
There we go.
And the whole reason that some of those beetles are known as like the devil's beetle.
We saw the
'cause
Hopi Indian
two
beetle
horns.
with the fucking mandibles on its head. But I don't like Howie Mandel, and we'll just leave that there. But if he came out and he was like, I used to get or have been jerked off on by no less than 87, but no more than 100 men, and I have eaten babies, but like the veal situation, I don't really do that anymore. It was like a time where I was like really into veal. I feel like people would let him, they'd be like, well, he's Howie Mandel. But if you're still eating babies, that's maybe the people that would be upset about.
Babies are bugs. If you had to eat one.
That's 100%. If I type in babies are bugs, we're going to get babies are bugs. Well, people already say they're parasites.
No, babies or bugs. You have to eat one of them to survive. Are you eating a baby or you're going to eat a bug?
I'm eating the babies. I'm not going to eat a bug, man. You're not going to have me eat a bug.
He won't stop.
So let me take this to the next level. And the reason why I think it's so important to keep reiterating that bug originally meant disembodied spirit. Now, what's the 21st? When someone says bug 21st century, now we're talking like computers, technology, bugs, right?
Yeah.
Is this a coincidence? Well, the original person that coined the term bug in terms of like in a system something
What
going
the fuck?
wrong. That this was.
Why did all the birthday balloons just pop up on the screen?
I think you did like a.
Did I do something?
No way. Is it doing that? Wait.
That's like a.
Give a thumbs up. Give a thumbs up. How did it do that?
I forgot what it is.
How did it
That's
do
above,
that?
so below.
That was so weird. The whole screen just got covered in balloons.
Well, the premise
It's
of
your birthday, Thomas.
What just happened?
Sorry.
the premise of bugs being disembodied spirits. Thomas Edison is the one that came up with bugs inside of like a system, and it was when he was working on something called the necrophone.
What the fuck?
Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of a necrophone before. This was a telephone that he was trying to create to talk with spirits.
Yeah. This is kind of like the Spiricom.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is a very common theme, especially in the early 20th century, that not only Thomas Edison, Thomas Watson, who was the sidekick of Alexander Graham Bell, and Alexander Graham Bell, they all believe that, for example, when you use the phone and you pick it up and you say something, that it wasn't your voice communicating through the wires, that a spirit heard what you said and then took your message and ran across the wire and then repeated what you said to the other person.
I believe that
on
now.
the other side of the line. They actually thought that they were using spirits to communicate messages. So when Thomas Edison comes up with the phrase "a bug in the system," he wasn't necessarily saying that like an actual bug made its way into the framework. That's actually a quote that came, I think, in like the 1940s or 50s, where some lady found a moth inside of a switchboard in like a naval
And there was an actual
computer,
bug
and there was an
inside.
actual moth in there. And some people cite that, but that is not where the term "a bug in the system" came from. It came from Thomas Edison, and Thomas Edison and his belief in spiritualism really does indicate that he's not saying an ant or a cockroach made itself into a circuit board. He was saying a disembodied spirit is causing havoc within technology.
I like that.
And we still use that term bug today. So now if you were if gun to head and you were going to say, what are demons? Like, what would be the form the demon would take? I'm probably going to go with AI, or I'm going to go with some kind of technology, or like a daemon inside of a Linux operating system. It's a process that just runs. It's
That
kind of a
makes sense to
neutral.
me because over and over again, the concept of frequency comes into play when it comes to like channeling or being in contact with them one way or another. I think that, different substances can put you in contact with these entities, but I think what it does is it changes like your brain chemistry and allows you to perceive, something that exists in a different frequency. If everything is frequency and vibration, and I think that's why they can interact so consistently with technology. When you get like a telephone issue, you get a disembodied voice over the phone, or you get images or voices in the static of a tube television, or, there's all these instances of, rudimentary versions of technology. Eventually it gets developed and it gets the bugs worked out, right? But in its early inception, there's always like some sort of poltergeist activity associated with it. And I think it's because they can interact in the physical through frequency, but they can't manifest as a physical entity.
Well, and a computer bug is referencing something due to human flaw, right? A human tried to
Right.
create a perfect system, and because we're inherently imperfect, some of your imperfections going to make it into that system.
Got to work the bugs out.
So, I mean, if you were to talk about this in like more biblical terms, that humans are flawed is what makes us susceptible to sin and what makes us susceptible to demonic possession or influence.
Yeah.
This seems like a direct one-for-one analogy for computer bugs. The computer bug exists because of human flaw and of human sin. If humans were free of sin, then we would make perfect software that would have no bugs in it. And I truly believe that if there were an antichrist, or if we were not in the little season and we're actually waiting on something horrific to happen, it's more likely than not going to be the result of something someone's going to call a bug. Oh, there was a bug in the system.
Yeah.
Which now I'm not going to be able to hear as a moth flew into a switchboard. If someone tells me that civilization died because of a bug in the system, I'm thinking, oh, a demon got in.
By the way, if we are a system and it's an imperfect system, and that's where sin, enters through, is the fact that we're fundamentally flawed, then this meme is actually super apt, because I do think that Parasites, if your gut is your second brain and the things in your gut can affect the way that you think, this meme is actually, when you have somebody posting like a fucking psychopath on Twitter, this is the meme that I like to whip out at them. I go, this is you.
And these are the
shitposting.
bugs that don't die in fire, right?
That's correct.
That's right.
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, I think there is a lot to that too. This idea of having like, a parasitic worm infestation in your gut. And, now science is learning that the gut biome is somehow like this secondary brain, and it regulates emotion on a level that we didn't understand before. Then it is kind of what you're saying is the worms in your gut are in control of your emotions to some degree. And like you can manage that by resisting and not being emotional. But still, like bouts of rage or depression and stuff, they're like, actually, I think it has a lot to do with parasitic infection and gut biome. Like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Here's another would you rather. Gut worm or brain worm?
RFK seems to be
fun,
crushing, yeah.
Brainworm.
So
He
brain
fucks.
worm.
He's super
Yeah.
buff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gutworm
Wait, do I have to
sucks.
talk like that?
No, that's a throat worm.
He's coming out with a podcast. I'm like, who the fuck
would
is
you
going to
do that?
listen to that? Who's going to listen to an RFK podcast? Yeah, so we've nailed it then. I'm not eating the bugs. I'd rather eat the babies. I'll take the brain worm over the gut worm.
With John the Baptist.
Okay, John the Baptist ate the bugs. He got his head cut off, though.
That's true.
That's true.
Had it coming.
Right.
But one of the famous decapitations in all of history, and he was able to tell the future with his decapitated head.
Right, the prophesying head of John the Baptist. You ever hear about that one?
No.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
this-
that's the coolest part of John the Baptist.
this
Is after
idea.
they cut off his head, it became a relic, and people would try and find this relic, and it was apparently either be a soothsayer or would tell you the future. Almost like the rumors about the crystal skulls, and if you like stare into the crystal skull's eyes, that was sort of adapted from John the Baptist mythology.
It's like Saint Nick's juice as well. Something like that. No. Sorry.
Yeah. I think Juan came on the show a long time ago and told us about the it was like Saint Nick's juice or Saint Nick's cream. You drink the cream.
Yeah, it comes from his skull.
Comes from his like coffin, or it happened. I don't know. It like is produced by the stones around his. I don't know, but you drink the juice. It's like Bach Saga. You drink the juice. You get
the knowledge. Yeah.
You get the knowledge. So the severed head of John the Baptist on a platter is a pivotal narrative in the Gospels of Matthew and Mark.
Would you rather?
Would you rather drink
Saint Nick skull cream or Bach Saga cream?
Oh, I'm drinking Saint Nick's juice.
Every day, Saint Nick's juice.
Every day.
yeah.
I'm not drinking
I'm sipping on
any
that,
Bach
baby.
Saga stuff at
So
all.
you don't want knowledge, is what it sounds like.
No, I'm fine with it. I just
that kind of
I just don't
knowledge.
want intestinal worms, and I don't want to eat bugs. So if Saint Nick's juice will sustain me, then I'm good to go. So is John the Baptist, his severed head on a platter, is a pivotal narrative in the Gospels of Matthew and Mark, representing the final silent testimony of a prophet executed by King Herod Antipas at the request of Herodias. The image symbolizes the silencing, but there's like a whole ass like extra canonical thing, I think, about his head, consistently giving prophecy. I'm not seeing
This
it
was
here.
a main plot point of a comic book series called The Invisibles that I think was a Grant Morrison series. And that was the main thing, is that everyone's trying to find the head of John the Baptist because he can sort of tell you the future. But when you talk to him and get the future, you go on like a psychedelic trip. And then he explains it to you in sort of a psychedelic way, not necessarily here in the waking realm.
So there is something in some traditions, the head is depicted as still holding power, acting as a prophesying head that represents the voice of conscience remaining after death. But yeah, it is kind of like those the crystal skull things. I remember when I learned about that. This is a little bit like, it might have been around the time of the Indiana Jones film made that kind of thing popular. But there was this idea going around that there was 13 crystal skulls, although some of them ended up being fraudulent. Some of them were in museum collections, and then there was still some more in private collections. And the most compelling ones were the ones that had no tooling marks on them, or at least no discernible tooling marks. I don't know if that's since been debunked, but there was one lady that had it in a private collection, refused to give it up. The museum wanted it from her. I don't know if they offered her money or whatever, but she was having regular psychic communication, had a relationship with the thing, refused to give it up. And I thought, man, like when I was younger and I was just making up unfounded conspiracy theories in my brain, I was like, what if those are the 13 skulls of the Greek pantheon that were once physical, but then it ended up being complete bullshit? And that's how I used to come up with my ideas. I used to go, what if? And then I would reverse engineer them.
This is where bugs or demons came from. I mean,
Yeah, we just did 2 hours on it.
Hell yeah, dude! On something that you literally just said flippantly, and then ended up being. So, do you feel like now, after everything that you looked at, you've stumbled on something like this is actually good, applicable research that more people should hear about? Because I never thought about that connection. I know the Beelzebub thing, obviously bringing up the Hollywood instances is really strange. But it's like this thing has a lot more meat on the bone than a lot of other shit that we've heard and we've discussed on this show. And it all came about accidentally. I mean, what are you doing with it now? Are you going to write a book?
No, I mean, I think I've done what I was going to do with it. We're here.
Presented to you idiots.
Yeah.
Let you guys run with it. And I don't want to take credit for this quote, and I can't even remember the exact quote. I'll paraphrase it, but it's like, the less you understand about the world, the cooler conspiracy theories you can come up with.
Hell yeah. That's why I come up with the best ones.
The dumber you are,
Fuck
the
yes.
more you're bewildered by things going on, and it's really easy to be like, aliens are doing that and demons are doing that,
Hell
and it
yeah.
all kind of comes to a head.
Hell yeah. That's
The innocence of a child.
That's the backbone of this show.
That's the meme of like the IQ, right?
The
You have
IQ bell curve.
You have the guy that doesn't know shit, the retarded guy, and then you have the Mensa dude, and they're saying the same thing.
But the guy in the middle of the average IQ.
Bugs are actually anthropomorphic. They're
Yeah.
actually this. They're like, nah, man.
No.
Demons. Very clearly.
Yep. We reside on the left side of the bell curve, but
I noticed too when I bring this up and people have tried to discount it, and I bring up like the Mesopotamian scorpion men, like, those are actually arthropods, not bugs.
oh my god.
And that's when I know that
You're talking to a faggot.
they're demons. I'm talking to somebody
Talking to-
that wants more demons in the world, and
Yeah.
they're trying to disprove this.
You're talking to somebody that if you pulled a string, this is who you're talking to right there. You're talking to somebody that if you pulled a string, you would find that they're actually nothing more than a sack full of bugs.
Amen.
Amen. Listen, before we get out of here, Thomas, let's remind everybody where they can find you and all of your merch and your fantastic stuff that I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of at Bohemian Grove.
ParanoidAmerican.com. If you want to support Freemasonry and convert more people to Freemasonry, that's the place to go. ParanoidAmerican.com. You can also go on Amazon. You can find Paranoid American stuff. I think the one that I want to push the most is a children's book on chemtrails. So if you want to teach your kids or teach yourself or give it to someone as like a gift that you know will absolutely piss them off because they don't believe in chemtrails, it's the best thing that I think you can get for them, along with countless. I mean, I've got a bunch of swag that I'm going to leave you guys with.
I'm
We
so
got
excited about
Adrenochrome
that.
stickers, Illuminati stickers.
That's
shout out to
amazing.
Donut. Shout out to Cheney.
Look at that.
Shout out
It's
to
like the
everybody.
Magic School Bus kind of aesthetic. And, oh, man, connect the dots. What does it say?
The confounding conspiracy of chemtrails. And the premise of this originally, of Connect the Dots, it was originally a parody. It was going to be like, if you were to just look up use the smallest amount of effort to see, are chemtrails real? Is it different than contrails?
Yeah.
It's so obvious that they are real, that
Yeah.
they were patented, they've been documented for over 5 different decades now. But it almost felt like you had to force somebody to pay attention. So the original concept of connect the dots was like, you're an idiot,
Yeah.
so let me treat you like you're a 5-year-old, and I'm going to explain to you, I'm going to connect the dots for you that chemtrails are real.
I love that.
And the more I worked on it, the more I was like, man, this thing has actually got legs, and I stopped treating it as like, I'm going to make fun of you for being an idiot, and it's like, I'm going to make an actual children's book, and it really it follows Miss Frizzle's kind of format.
I think I'm going to get that for my kid. That'd be fun, man.
A lot of people get it thinking it's going to be like some silly little throwaway
Yeah.
thing, like, oh, haha, and they open it up and it's like, oh, this actually has legitimate research in it. It gets into Morgellons disease, it gets into nanotechnology, it gets into the
Whoa.
Draco star system. It talks about that the Space Preservation Act of 2001, the very first thing that was passed after 9/11, is the first thing that we've got government documentation that defines chemtrails as an exotic weapon system.
Whoa.
So anytime someone wants to be like, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist and chemtrails and contrails, connect the dots for them.
Chemtrails are demons and bugs. Chemtrails are full
That's
of bugs.
crazy.
Hey, here's a free one. Maybe if we can get it together for Bohemian Grove. Mad Libs, but it's just blank are demons. Every single page, you just put a word in and it's our demons.
You know what
Bam.
would be great is what if we had remember how you did the presentation on adrenochrome?
Mm-hmm.
What if you did like a 10 to 15 minute slide, because we have 4 main performances set up. We could talk about this off air a little bit, but I'm looking for smaller sub performances to sprinkle in between the big ones to kind of make this. I want this to be a lot of fun and a lot and kind of wild. It would be great if you could do that like slideshow using the children's book on like, because even some of that stuff I didn't know it includes the Draco star system. Like, that's fantastic. We'll talk about it off air, but listen, man.
Well, let me just tell you why. It's because if you ever see the grid patterns where it's like, oh, how come I've got these like this grid? Well, if you know how a Faraday cage works, Faraday cage, it
Motherfucker.
blocks electromagnetic signals so that you can't get messages in or out. Chemtrails might be a spiritual version of that. That you're no
Holy
longer
shit.
allowed to project your consciousness outside of the ionosphere because these planes are creating like a spiritual Faraday cage.
Whoa.
Fuck, man. That's pretty
Almost
cool.
like crop circles, but for the sky.
That's crazy. Man, I like that.
All right. Well, we know what we're talking about next with you.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get the fuck out of here.
I got to use the bathroom.
I gotta piss hard.
Christ is
So-
king.
We could all pee together.
Christ is king.
Christ is king.
Obey, submit, and comply.
They bred with dark